talkSPORT Sports Update, powered by the Nissan Van Range. Commercial vehicles that go the distance for your business. Search Nissan Vans or head to your local Nissan Van Centre.
With your headlines, it's just coming up to 2 minutes past 10. I'm Nick Ellaby. Good morning. Can England win the World Cup without Jude Bellingham? He's out injured right now, but talkSPORT's Stuart Pearce was asked about his impressions of Jude in an England shirt.
I've got to say, someone who's in it for themselves rather than the team, if I'm being quite honest with you. And I may be a mile off the mark there. But and I formed that opinion probably in the first 2 or 3 appearances.
Pearce says leaving Bellingham out right now would be outlandish from Tuchel, but if it's for the greater good of the team, it's the right thing to do. Serbia versus England is live on talkSPORT tomorrow night. Meanwhile, Jude's dad Mark Bellingham's been called out for his controlling behaviour, possibly leading to a split in the England dressing room. Jude doesn't do his share of England media duties. Mark Bellingham also had a go at the Dortmund director recently after Jobe was subbed at half-time. Here's talkSPORT's Perry Groves.
Jude and Jobe Bellingham should tell their dad to keep their nose out of the football side of it. Completely. You shouldn't be talking to coaches. You shouldn't be talking to managers.
Elsewhere, has Daniel Levy's departure left the door open for a Spurs takeover? The owners, the Lewis family, say no, but 2 approaches have been made and rejected by Tottenham. And Carlos Alcaraz says he now sees more of Yannick Sinner than he does of his own family. Alcaraz beat Sinner in 4 sets to win the US Open, becoming at 22 the youngest man to win 6 Grand Slams since Bjorn Borg. Sinner says Alcaraz handled Arthur Ashe better than he did.
He's a different player. He doesn't have weaknesses, for example, which maybe some players they have weaknesses. Then you try to play tactically in a way.
More at talksport.com.
talkSPORT News.
A New Zealand man who's been on the run for nearly 4 years with his 3 young children has been shot dead by police, and there are calls for a judge who wished a man claiming to be behind the 7/7 bombings well in court to be sacked. More with Emma at past.
talkSPORT weather with QuickFit. Today it's raining tyres in our centres, including top-notch brands like Pirelli. Visit your local centre or quickfit.com and book today.
Scattered showers in the west, spreading across most of the country by this afternoon. There's a risk of thunder in the west, plenty of warm sunny spells in between. In the east, staying largely dry.
Good morning, everybody. You're listening to Jim White, Simon Jordan and Martin Keown. We're live on talkSPORT. So, after early expressions of interest from prospective buyers, how resolute will ENIC's not-for-sale stance remain regarding Spurs? Meanwhile, Fabio Wardley is set to take on Joseph Parker this October in a huge heavyweight clash. Both fighters join us live in studio this morning. They're in here in about half an hour from now. Also today, do England fans just love to hate on England? Are Manchester United right to all but give up on Onana? Is it unwise for an owner to engage in geopolitical debates? And is the era of Alcaraz and Sinner already eclipsing the previous triumvirate of Federer, Nadal and Djokovic? It's Jim White, Simon Jordan, Martin Keown. We're live on talkSPORT.
100% engagement.
Jim White and Simon Jordan on talkSPORT.
And fresh from the sunshine of Crete, Martin Keown, looking very healthy, very fit. Good morning, Martin.
Good morning, guys. Yes, a nice break with the grandchildren.
I think I looked at the Sun Lounger once and was about to lie on it, and then it was full on for the 5 days, but I enjoyed every minute of it.
Excellent. Meantime, the man to your right was taking your little fella to school this morning.
I was.
And then you had to hoof it from Waterloo down here.
I did. My driver didn't turn up. Then I couldn't get a taxi. Then I couldn't drive because there wasn't enough time.
Dump
away, Luke.
I think you're better for it.
When you say you couldn't get a taxi, do black cab drivers in London now refuse to take you?
No.
Is that where we're at?
No, just can't get
They
one.
love you, boy. They speak
just
to me
the volume
about
of people on the road because of these delightful train drivers that have decided to strike on the beginning of a new term for school after having pay rises and after being bailed out by TfL 3.5 years ago.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Simon, I'm with you on that this morning. I was sounding off about it this morning to somebody.
In the capital to
what do? Let's inconvenience the public. You know, if they go after more money for sure, but don't bring the public into it.
Thank goodness for the Elizabeth line, because it rescued me this morning, although the train from Worcester at 7:30 didn't turn up.
Right.
Not sure what happened there. It never, ever turns up.
Anyway, do you know what? We're all here.
There we are.
We being you, me and Martin.
Indeed.
In the meantime, Simon, Fabio Wardley and Joseph Parker are coming into this building.
Great fun.
It's going to be great.
Two class operators for different reasons. One at world level, Joseph Parker. Another one that's a very, very, very nice bloke that's beginning to find his way. So fascinating fight.
Yeah, the two fighters will be live in the studio in about half an hour from now. So, of course, only one place to start, and the situation at Tottenham Hotspur, because Daniel Levy has gone. Tottenham Hotspur issued a statement last night saying they had rejected 2 preliminary expressions of interest to purchase ENIC's 87% majority stake in the club. One coming from the former Newcastle United shareholder, we know her, Amanda Staveley, her company, and the other from a Chinese consortium. Now, Simon, when we look at it, I noticed the board of the club and ENIC confirm that Tottenham Hotspur is not for sale, and that ENIC has no intention to accept any such offer to acquire its interest in the club. Is this nonetheless, though, Simon, not a football club that's now set up and primed for a takeover?
Well, it's interesting that Tottenham have made this announcement because it might go to the root of the reasons why Daniel has gone so quickly and so abruptly. It might go to the root of what was actually going on behind the scenes. Daniel may well have been orchestrating, this is supposition on my part, may well have been orchestrating a sale process that involved him staying in the business and having his cake and eating it by selling his own shares. And that may well be why the sudden, abrupt, and from what I understand, rather aggressive nature of Daniel's departure from Tottenham. Because
was it a sacking?
Pretty much, yeah.
Tantamount to a sacking.
Yeah, I mean, pretty much. I don't think he was asked to leave politely. And so, with the best will in the world, and Daniel was very silent at the moment in time, which always makes you feel that someone's legaled up.
You haven't spoken to him?
No. And, you know, the fact that Spurs have put out a statement tells you something. There's no need for this. I mean, the Rule 9 is basically if you make an offer for the majority shareholder's stake, you've got to make an offer to all the minority shareholders as well. Right? So that's just a positioning situation. But it feels to me, if I'm reading it, the room, and it's my nose that's telling me that rather than facts, that this feels like there might have been something in the background that Daniel was orchestrating or doing, and it may well be that he wanted to sell Tottenham Hotspur. He wants his huge amount of money as a result of it and probably wanted to stay in situ. So if that's the case, that will go to the explanation of why it's happened so quickly. If it's not the case, then it's something else. But Daniel wasn't asked, you know, to leave without very good reason.
Yeah. So ENIC are saying not for sale. Do you think that resolve, Simon, will be tested in the coming days and months?
Well, it depends who's going to write a cheque. I mean, Amanda Staveley is a hustler. She'll get in the middle of a deal and create an outcome. And fair play to her. She created a deal at Newcastle and she got paid well out of it. And if she can create another opportunity here, she'll do the same. I mean, the bottom line is Spurs will be for sale. It's about what someone's prepared to pay for it. It's interesting that ENIC have come out with a very interesting statement, because I would assume, with due respect to what I've just said about Daniel, that Daniel was running the business at the bequest of the majority shareholder. So to come out now and say, we want success, is almost laughable, because I'm assuming it was their directive that Daniel ran the football club by in the first place. Yeah. It's also interesting that you make that sort of statement after the transfer window's closed.
Are we right to believe the decision around Levy going was driven by Vivian and Charlie, who are Joe Lewis's children?
I think the method of execution is relatively immaterial. I think the fact that he's gone is the more material thing. You know, if you listen to the Jungle Grapevine, it will tell you that Daniel was unceremoniously asked to exit. Depends how much fact you want to attribute to that. But gone, he's gone. And I don't think Daniel was expecting it in any shape or form.
So you think this was posturing for ownership rather than his performances and his failure to build upon that success at the end of last season? Because they obviously missed out on some really big targets in the side.
Well, I think it's very clear I think you'd have to be the blind leading the deaf to assume that Joe Lewis and the majority shareholder didn't have a significant influence over what this football club did on a day-to-day basis, and Daniel was their method of execution. So he ran the business the way they wanted him to. So to say that now they want a new level of success, I'm assuming must be based upon a complete departure from something they wanted to do for the last 25 years.
Yeah. Sammy, tell me this. When we read, football fans are not daft, and they read what's quoted. A source close to the Lewis family heralded a new era at Tottenham and pointed to a desire to improve on-pitch performance. And this is a quote: "Generations of the Lewis family support this special football club, and they want what the fans want: more wins, more often." Was that not the brief over the past 24 years?
But again, I would say to you, Daniel didn't run this club in a vacuum. Joe Lewis and the Lewis family were the majority shareholders. And in the initial outset, the funders. So I'm assuming that Daniel ran the football club exactly as they wanted to. So now suggesting that they want it run it differently is a positioning statement. It'll make them a hostage to fortune. They'll become a hostage to fortune in January, not now, because obviously the transfer window is closed. So there is an element of ridiculousness about this. I mean, there has been supposition about Spurs wanting to be sold for some time, for significant levels of money, inside and over and above $4 billion. That has been discussed, and deals have been discussed and worked up and never come to conclusions. But Spurs today have put a statement out. There's no real reason for that statement. Besides, it gives you a clear indication of potentially why Daniel is no longer there.
Well, it's a big change in direction, because only in May, Daniel Levy was speaking and was saying, I tell you what, at Tottenham Hotspur, we want to win the lot.
We've won a European trophy. It's not enough. It's what we haven't done that is more important. We need to win the league. We want to win the Premier League. We want to win the Champions League. But, we want to win.
I'll put it out there to Tottenham fans this morning. Martin's alongside Simon and myself this morning. Give us a call. For you Spurs fans, should this be cause for celebration, or more, be careful what you wish for, now that Daniel Levy has gone? Because when you look at it, and I'll give you the number to call in a second, Levy was appointed in 2001, longest-serving Premier League chairman. Spurs won 2 trophies in that period, a League Cup and a Europa League trophy last season. 14 permanent managers in the Levy era. And Spurs were valued at £2.5 billion by Forbes earlier this year. It was £80 million when Levy took over in 2001. Where do you stand in this, Tottenham fans? Is this a cause for celebration that Levy is now no longer at the club? Or is it a case of be careful what you wish for? You might want to give us a call on that. 03717 223344 810 89. I mean, Simon, again, if you're a betting man, do you see the club being under different ownership, say, a year from now?
Again, it all comes down to what someone's prepared to pay for it.
Yeah.
I mean,
what would get it?
Oh, who knows? I mean, you'd have to ask Joe Lewis that. You'd have to ask his grandchildren that. The fact is that Tottenham are looking now at the direction of travel. Football's changed dramatically. Even Arsenal changed, pivoted after the 2021 COVID situation, and spend a lot more money than they used to do, because they realise that the pursuit of excellence is what's going to make the capital value of a football club bigger. And that's what I write about in the Sunday Times, which is, hang on a second, prudence has gone out the window. Daniel's a throwback, an anachronism to an era where people used to try to run football clubs like a business, or try to run it like local businessmen that could afford to own a football club. Now it's nation states with different agendas.
Yeah.
So Chelsea and Man City and other football clubs have thrown so much money at success, yet the value of their clubs is so significant. And Spurs may have to pivot into that and understand that, and Daniel didn't. But when I see, my original reading of the situation was always that Daniel being pushed out, and there's nothing that I've heard, seen, that has changed that. But seeing the statement from Spurs now, this morning, makes me begin to think why he was pushed out.
Right.
Rather than personality clashes, rather than people becoming fed up with one another, it would appear to me that there are other things at play here. And again, it's a supposition on my part, but Spurs putting out a statement saying, we're not for sale. If you want to make an offer, make a formal offer, you've got to apply with Rule 9. Why do that?
Has the club
that might give you some insight as to what was going on.
Did the club outgrow Levy?
No, not really. Did it outgrow Levy? I mean, not particularly. Why would
Simon, when he looks back now, he's out the door. When he reflects, what do you think he got wrong? Because, it's okay to have the best house on the street, isn't it? But you do want to be the most successful man on the street. Lovely ground, lovely training ground.
Well, there's your answer.
I don't think you got the balance right.
There's
14 managers. And you look through these, three of them didn't even last a season.
And that's where you look at that quote from the Lewis family, Martin, over the weekend. We want what the fans want. More wins, more often. Give us a call this morning, 03717 223344. In your column in the Sunday Times, Simon, I noticed you said, in the end, Daniel almost became the Arsene Wenger of chairman. We'll get into that next. 03717 223344. Oh, yeah, and Wardley and Parker are on the way. Good morning, everybody. Monday morning, we're live on talkSPORT. Thanks for all the texts and the tweets already, all the messages. And remember, you can watch the show as well as listen to it. Very soon, you're going to see Fabio Wardley in the studio alongside Joseph Parker. The two will fight each other next month, and the two will be in studio very shortly. So if you're watching the show, and you can do that by means of Samsung, LG, Fire TV, Apple TV, Chromecast, Android, Google TV, even Prime Video, you can watch it everywhere nowadays, Martin. Arsenal Invincible, Martin Keown in studio with us this morning. Look, there he is. Wherever you watch, we are here. We being Jim White and Simon Jordan every morning between 10 and 1. Martin with us this morning. We're delighted about that. All change at Tottenham. Daniel Levy's gone. Simon is giving us a lot more than what most people know because Simon's in the know on this topic. The share structure of ENIC will remain unchanged. The club named Vinay Venkatesham as their new chief executive in April. Peter Charrington becomes non-exec chairman. It's a new role following Levy's exit. Charrington, a director of Tottenham's owners, ENIC, was appointed to the Spurs board in March as a non-executive director. Many calls coming in, 03717 333344. Simon, is this more a power battle than it is a football matter?
This is not about...
Is this about who sets the agenda at this club?
In my view, the way you read this is not about football. This is about power and money. This is about who decides what something is sold for and when it is sold. This is what this is about. And unless, people are making a lot of noise about Joe Lewis's grandkids and whatever else. Unless Joe Lewis is senile now, it's Joe Lewis that's making this decision. And whatever's gone on between Joe and Daniel, I would imagine that something relatively significant has changed in their relationship to make this decision. But as you asked me, this is not about football. This is about who determines when and why and how.
Isn't that fundamentally wrong, Simon?
This is football.
Because it should always be about the football. He's the chairman of a football club, isn't he? Or the owner, part owner, yeah.
It's a business that's worth 3 or 4 billion quid.
If you look over the piece and the 24 years and you think, well, have they achieved enough? Finished 17th, fourth from bottom last season, all those defeats. He earns £5 million a year. He's earned £50 million, by the way, since he's been there in that role. I don't think he's been good enough. And it might just be for the footballing reasons. I know there's a problem in the boardroom, but it certainly didn't help him what he was doing. Okay, this new manager, I think it's a good appointment. I think
Martin, it's interesting though. A lot of the messages coming through asking, please put this to Simon. I'm one of the many who are trying to get through at the moment, can't get through. Listen, sorry about that, says JS. Daniel Levy was not the problem at Tottenham. He's been scapegoated here. Would love to get through if I can, but that's my opinion. Daniel Levy was not the problem at Tottenham. He's been scapegoated here. What's your take on that?
But there's always been that mentality, hasn't there? But there's a new world. It's a new world order. It's like having a Hollywood franchise, expecting the biggest movie in the world, not wanting to sign the biggest stars to make sure the franchise is successful. There is an element of this in this situation because you've got Man City, Arsenal now spend money like they're going out of fashion. Liverpool spend money. Chelsea have spent money for the last 20 years to buy silverware, and they've increased the capital value of their football club. Daniel did it differently.
Yeah.
And football has moved on, and it's changed, and the direction of travel has changed. And owners are now realising that silverware, to go to Martin's thing, actually increases the capital value of the football club, makes the football club more value in the longer game.
So did his way become outdated in the current landscape?
Well, that's what I said in the article. Daniel was a bit of an anachronism in terms of the fact that he wanted to run a football club in a certain way, and this world has changed.
You called him the Arsene Wenger of chairman. What did you mean?
Well, Arsene Wenger was an innovator, was a brilliant changer of the direction of travel, and players responded, and the thought process about Arsene Wenger would change the whole process of how football managers looked, felt, operated and thought. By the time he left, he was being hounded out by his own fans.
But there's a difference. Arsene Wenger was a huge football man. I'm not sure Daniel Levy
but we're not...
Is he not just a businessman playing in a football?
Yes, of course. Of course, but football is now being owned by...
That lack of emotion doesn't tip you over the line.
You're taking it down to its most basic level, Martin, and understand the reasons why you would.
Yeah, but I know where Martin's going. Arsene Wenger brought his club enormous amounts of success.
Yeah.
Can you argue that Levy did?
No. Different. Well, it depends who you're arguing for. If you're arguing for Joe Lewis sitting there saying, I've got a football club that could be worth £4 billion, I think he'd say Daniel Levy was quite successful. If you're arguing about the actual purest nature of what football should be about, which is winning things, of course not.
Interestingly though, Simon, you pinned Daniel Levy in your Viaplay documentary. You spoke about the challenge of competing against changing ownerships. This was Levy.
I think part of the problem is that so many clubs take a very short-term view and only interested in today, and it's been really, really difficult for the Premier League, if you like, get consensus around the room with 20 clubs. It saddens me to say that, the Premier League today is not as united as perhaps it could be.
Why is that?
Look, I think you have extremes in the Premier League, more extremes in the Premier League today than you did 20 years ago. You know, you have effectively state ownership of clubs. And they have...
It was a common denominator, wasn't it? Everyone was united by money in the pursuit of it. It was a clear agenda.
Yeah.
And what you're saying now, potentially, with nation-state ownership, they've got a different motivation and a different agenda.
Yeah, and I'm not criticising them in any way. I just think part of the problem is it's quite difficult for those clubs in that room to agree a deal that's in the long-term interests of football.
Do you think the outlook at Spurs will change, Simon? In that it won't be about money, it won't be about being massively in the black, it won't be about a dazzling financial performance, it will be about winning on the pitch.
No. I think they've made themselves a hostage to fortune because they've made the statements, and we'll see what they do. And we'll see what they do in January. It's interesting they made the statement and decided to take Daniel out of the picture directly after the transfer window is closed. So they can't do anything in real terms, can they now? They can't do anything instantaneously, but football doesn't operate just in instantaneous terms. They'll be held to account in January. But again, I go back to my point, which again, my nose tells me this is not about football. It's being positioned that way because we're a football show and we're talking about it at its lowest common denominator. But this is about the power and money that decide what's happening with this football club and who and potentially when it's going to be sold to. And this is what this is about. And yes, they've made a nice little positioning statement. But again, you've got to sit back and say to yourself, if you're the majority shareholder and you're the funder to some extent of this football club and have been for a long period of time, and the football club's been running under your direction, it's got to be relatively hypocritical to say, well, we always wanted more success. Well, come on.
I'm putting it out there this morning and I'm phrasing it deliberately like this. Tottenham fans, now that Levy's gone, should it be a cause for celebration or is it a case of be careful what you wish for? 03717 223344 81089. You know, just before we get to the break, Simon, many people said to me over the weekend, I was surprised when I heard Daniel Levy has gone. After that amount of time, he's synonymous with Tottenham. Why weren't we told at the end of this season, or maybe at the end of this calendar year, Daniel Levy will be stepping down? Why was it so damn sudden?
Because they've had a fallout, I would suspect. And there's a variety of reasons. If Daniel has been doing things like soliciting bids, I'm not saying he has, and perhaps providing information that Joe Lewis wasn't aware that he's provided, who knows what's happened? But to have this level of instantaneous outcome will tell you that some of what I'm saying probably is rooted in a degree of substance.
I mean, it's quite a way for a 24-year-long relationship to end.
Yeah.
And in a fairly acrimonious way.
Well, we'll see, won't we? I mean, look, Daniel...
I mean, was it almost get your coat?
Look, without being in the room, who knows? The fact of the matter is that Daniel's gone. They've made a statement. They've gone and followed it up with a statement saying, we will not be accepting any bids unless they're done properly. That tells you something, doesn't it? That must tell you something. Even the blind must see that something's gone on there. And I would imagine that some of what I'm saying has some real substance behind it.
Yeah. Martin's with Simon and myself. We're with you all the way until 1 o'clock. We'll talk boxing shortly, but not until we've heard from you. 03717 223344. A cause for celebration or be careful what you wish for? Levy's gone at Tottenham. Let us know.
wondered why Erling Haaland scores a hat-trick instead of just 3 goals? Why Darwin Núñez is said to have missed a sitter rather than just missing a really easy shot? Or why on earth defenders are said to park the bus? Let's break down some of our favourite football cliches. First, let's talk hat-tricks. The term comes from cricket back in the 1800s. Any bowler who managed to get 3 successive wickets used to be rewarded with a hat from their club. Next up, if you see a skillful tackle, an athletic save or a 40-yard screamer, you might say these things are out the top drawer. That's because back in Victorian times, if you had wealth, valuable stuff, you kept it in the top drawer of your dresser, so loaded families became known as top drawer. Remember the last time your team left you feeling as sick as a parrot? The image of the sick bird is thought to come from a classic British comedy moment, Monty Python's Dead Parrot sketch, but the phrase was first used in football by Liverpool defender Phil Thompson. He supposedly said it after Liverpool lost to Nottingham Forest in the 1978 League Cup final. Forest won thanks to a controversial penalty given away by a Thompson foul, even though it was actually outside the box. Poor guy said he felt sick as a parrot afterwards. Is there anything more embarrassing than a nutmeg in football? Weird name, but it's actually related to the trading of nutmeg, the spice. It was so expensive back in the day that corrupt exporters used to try and mix in a bit of wood in with the nutmeg to cut their costs. The term soon became slang. If you were nutmegged, it was because the person you were buying off had pulled a fast one on you. Jose Mourinho brought a lot of things to English football, and seems like one of those was the phrase "park the bus." He used it after his Chelsea side had been held to a goalless draw by Spurs in 2004. Tottenham had been extremely defensive, not trying to score, but making sure Chelsea couldn't either. Mourinho actually said, "They brought the bus and left the bus in front of the goal," as we say in my country. Finally, another phrase that actually comes from cricket. Footballers are said to have missed a sitter if they miss an easy chance. In the late 19th century, it was used in cricket to describe a moment when a fielder failed to take a catch which was so easy they should have been able to catch it sitting down. So there you have it, some of your favourite footballing cliches. And if you think this video is all over, well, it is now.
Monday morning, Monday, September the 8th. Jim White, Simon Jordan, Arsenal Invincible, Martin Keown. We're live in talkSPORT, courtesy of Selco Builders Warehouse. It's where the trade go. I know where we're going at 11:15. Right here in this studio, we'll be joined by 2 top fighters. Fabio Wardley and Joseph Parker will be joining us, and the 2 will go head-to-head in the ring at the O2 here in London on October the 25th. Both fighters are in the building. Producer Luke, yep, they are. One's up here, the other's coming up from the ground floor to the 17th floor, and they're going to be joining us in this very studio in about 15 minutes from now. At the moment, we're stuck in Tottenham. We make no apologies for that because it was a seismic announcement at the tail end of last week, and we're going through the implications of it now. Daniel Levy, the chairman, gone after many, many years at the football club. And it's all change. A source close to the Lewis family, the owners in other words, heralded a new era at Tottenham and pointed to a desire to improve on-pitch performance. Generations of the Lewis family support this special football club, and they want what the fans want: more wins, more often. Thanks, Daniel, and goodbye. That was me adding that, not the statement. But what does it mean now going forward? And how do Tottenham fans look at this morning? Is it a cause for celebration that Levy's gone? 2 trophies in the time he was there? Or is it a case of be more careful what you wish for? Very keen to get Simon involved in your calls, and we'll do that right now. All the way from down under in Australia, Spurs fan David. David, good morning. What do you want to say?
Good morning, gentlemen. Spreadsheet Dave all the way from Sydney. Haven't rung for a while. Just want to say that metaphorically, I've been guzzling bottles of champagne after champagne since I heard the news on Friday. It's interesting that some of the comments today, what has really happened to Levy for once is that he's been out-strategized and out-thought in a game of poker, because the role of executive chairman in the structure is no more. That was his role. So the role is no more. So as an educated guess, that role has been made redundant. His role is made redundant. He will get a payoff in relation to that. According to the Times Rich List, he's now worth $500 million in his personal wealth. The quote that you had about he sat round a table with other owners and he's not sure about some of the other owners having the long-term interests of football in mind. This is the man who, when King Charles III came round the stadium in February, the on-the-pitch activity he was showing was American football. I've been going to Tottenham since 1977. I wasn't going to watch American football then. And so the fact that people have said he's been made a scapegoat, etc., the fact of the matter is that he's resided over a footballing organisation that's had countless coaches, football directors, won 2 trophies in 25 years. So I'm not crying any tears over him. He's been outthought by the Lewis family. I think it was obvious at the start of the summer when Donna Cullen retired, supposedly, and Cherrington was on the board, who has close associations and worked with the Lewis family.
Yeah, but Daniel leaves Tottenham, David, as the most profitable club in Premier League history. Does that count for nothing?
It doesn't count for nothing, because when my old man said to me in the sandpit at age 6, do you want to come and see the most profitable football team? He didn't say that. He said, do you want to come and watch Tottenham, watch them play exciting brand of football, win cups every now and again, but had a go, challenged by some players, not having, the most profitable. Listen, everyone goes, be careful what you wish for, but you guys are all successful in your own fields and organisations and your teams. If you had a teammate or a work colleague who turns around and goes, be careful what you wish for, and being resistant to change, you wouldn't want them in your team, would you?
So this is a cause for celebration as far as you're concerned?
Absolutely.
Okay. David, listen, thanks. Continue to listen to us, mate, down under, and thanks for the call. Matt's a big Tottenham fan. Do you go with David, that this is a cause for celebration, Matt, or is it more be careful what you wish for?
1,000,000% I agree. Thankfully, we've got... I actually thought it was only me, but thankfully we've got fans like that gentleman there. And I'm on the same hymn sheet with him on that. I've got to say to you and Simon there, this is karma. This is absolute karma at its finest. Why? Let's go back to Martin, Harry Redknapp, Pochettino, Jose Mourinho, even Ange. Every single one of them, not so much Ange, because he obviously got sacked and won the trophy, and it was after a time. But obviously what was happening behind the scenes, we don't know, and we could all speculate. But the realities are that ruthless parasite got rid of these people one by one, without even no feeling behind what he's done, sacking them. Pochettino not allowed to say bye to his players, and Martin at half-time done all this. But you know what? He got karma. Why? Because thankfully, and I this is my opinion again, and look, reading between the lines, this is how I see it. Joe Lewis, he got hurt. He got hurt in a good way, thankfully, that he got moved to one side, put his football club in the trust, and that trust with Vivian and Charlie, and I hope they're listening, I thank for what they're now doing. Giving that previous chairman, and I won't give him a headline with his name, thankfully, they done it ruthlessly, made him step down with immediate effect. Why? Because if you don't jump, I'll make sure I push you.
Matt, stay in the line, because you'll need to be a brave man to face this fella. So, Simon, you say in your column in the Sunday Times, would I hire Daniel Levy to run things if I controlled a major football club? Bloody right I would. He's a brilliant administrator, a clever man who Tottenham fans should thank for creating a magnificent platform for future success. I wish him well. What is your take when you hear Matt, the Tottenham fan?
I think that Matt needs to understand that Daniel Levy worked for Joe Lewis. And if he thinks that Joe Lewis thinks any different from Daniel Levy, then he's deluded. And to make it all about Daniel and to make Daniel the centre of his ire is entirely his prerogative. The reality of it is Joe Lewis operates at a very different level and probably is even more frugal, more driven than Daniel is. So when you sit there and you want to make it about Daniel, Joe Lewis is the majority shareholder. And whether it's karma or not for this ridiculous observation that somehow football managers should be given some passage when they go outside the door, whether it's Harry Redknapp or Martin Joel about how they should leave a football club. I mean, let's grow up and get into the real world of how people leave situations. They get paid to leave, and most of the time they're being paid for being unsuccessful.
Well, Matt, Simon says yours is a ridiculous observation.
Right, right now this is. You know what? I love Simon Jordan because I just went fishing and I just baited him in. Please tell me, Simon, right?
Well, you got
what
me.
did I just say? What did I just say in my previous sentence about Joe Lewis? What did I say? You're saying it was ultimately Joe Lewis and Daniel Lee. Well, I don't even want to say his name now. You put me on that. But I could tell you, I just made that clear, abundantly clear. It was him that put him in that position.
Indeed.
That made this.
So why are you celebrating? Why are you celebrating? Why are you celebrating Daniel
finish.
going if Joe Lewis is the intellectual capital?
No, he's not anymore. You could
Okay.
say what you want. You could say what you
Who
want.
is then?
Vivian, there's no way Joe Lewis, I could tell you this now, and I will put my last dime on it, Joe Lewis wouldn't be the one making him jump.
Let me tell you about power and money. It's absolute. And unless Joe Lewis is senile, Joe Lewis would be making this decision. Joe Lewis is one of the most ruthless, focused, money-motivated, money-making machines that you'll ever lay eyes upon. And Joe Lewis is behind this, believe me. And he may well have imparted that particular brand of message passing to his grandchildren. I doubt it. In the real world, this is all Joe Lewis.
Matt, listen, thanks for the call. When we come back the other side of this break, we're going to be joined in studio by two top fighters because Fabio Wardley is set to take on Joseph Parker on October the 25th at the O2 here in London. The two boys will be right here with us live next. Good morning, everybody. It is Monday morning, the 8th of September. It's Jim White and Simon Jordan with you live on talkSPORT. Now, we're a radio station, of course we are, but we're also live everywhere these days on TV. Your TV, Samsung, LG, Fire TV, Apple TV, Chromecast, Android, Google TV, even Prime Video, whatever you watch, we are here for you. And I'm delighted to say, not for the first time, the top fighters in the world of boxing choose this show to be on. Usyk and Dubois did it before. Well, this morning we're thrilled because a huge heavyweight fight has been announced in recent days. Fabio Wardley will take on Joseph Parker on October the 25th at the O2 here in London. And have a look at this and have a listen to this morning, because Fabio and Joseph are live with Simon and myself here in studio this morning. I can hardly believe it. This is brilliant. Guys, good morning to you both.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Fabio, Joseph, great to have you here. Now, when Usyk and Daniel did it, there was a bit of needle, although Usyk remains above everything, doesn't he? It's amazing. What about you two? How do you feel about each other? Because first off, Fabio, how delighted are you that this fight, the men in charge have got it over the line?
Yeah, look, it's that's very important in a career, is not to get stuck, not to stay stagnant, and to know that the people managing you, looking after you, Frank, Queensbury, those guys can deliver on their word and say, look, if you want to jump forward, if you see an opportunity and you want to go for it, then we can put those pieces together for you. And they have done exactly that for me and for Joe as well. So yeah, there's not much more to ask for. We asked for the job to be done. It's been ticked off. The rest is left to us now.
Wow. How do you feel about it, Joseph? Good morning.
Good morning. I'm just happy I have a fight. I'm happy that Fabio put up his hand and agreed to this fight. And I want to keep busy. I want to fight as often as I can. Just fighting once or twice a year is no good. So I'm very happy that we have a fight locked in. There's respect, but we both know that when the fight time comes, all of that goes out the window.
Joseph, what do you think of him as a fighter?
I think he's got a great story. Started off white collar background, and he's got good knockout power. Knocked out 18 opponents out of 20 fights. So, and in the last fight, he showed that he can pull out of the bag. Things do get tough and hard in the fight.
What do you think about the man Parker, Fabio?
I think he's a fantastic fighter with a fantastic career as well. With obviously started out great, world champion, and had a little pivot in the middle, but also going to show that grit, that resilience of picking yourself back up, pulling yourself back together, coming off a few knockdowns, losses, whichever you want to call them, and then just takes out top heavyweight after top heavyweight after top heavyweight to put himself in this mandatory position for the WBO with Usyk. So it's nothing beyond admirable. I can't admire him much more in that sense. So yeah, look, I think the honest thing about this is just two plain honest fighters who I'm WBA interim, he's WBO interim, but we're not sitting there just waiting on the sidelines or even going, just give me a nice little easy one so I can tick over in the middle. We've both stood up and gone, hang on, where's the big fight out here? Who's the real players in the game out here? And we've gone for each other and gone to lock horns.
Simon, who is this the bigger gamble for, if you like, on the night?
Probably Joe, because, without being disrespectful to Fabio, there'll be an element of the boxing world. And first of all, I admire both of these men very much. I think they're absolute credit to their industry. I think they're class acts in different ways for different reasons. Fabio, because he keeps on finding a way to win, and he probably wants to kill his backstory about the white collar because it's irrelevant now. And Joe Parker, because I think he's just a class act at world level. I think he's changed as a fighter since Andy Lee's come into play. And he's not the same fighter that I went to watch and bored me to death against Anthony Joshua. He's a different animal now. Different animal completely. For myself. But I think where Joe is now, Joe is mandatory for the WBO shot. And the fact that Usyk is playing hide and seek with his shoulder right now doesn't help the situation. But for Joe taking this fight, if he loses this fight to Fabio, if Fabio were to lose this fight, with all due respect to him, a lot of people will think it's baked in that he might lose this fight. This is a real world-level operator. This is a real world-class operator that's been a champion of the world. So if he loses this fight, it doesn't destroy him perhaps in the same way that it damages Joe Parker. Because Joe Parker, in most people's eyes, will be expected to win this fight. Not his eyes, and perhaps not the reality of what will happen in the ring, because he keeps on finding a way to win. Every time you put him in against an opponent that people think is going to cause trouble for him, he finds a way to win. He finds a way to win. But what is about this fight, it's a brilliant fight. It's a fascinating fight, and I'm really looking forward to it.
You were nodding in agreement with Simon there.
Yeah, I was agreeing on the talk of ever since or since the fight was announced that the general talk is Joe is the obvious favourite, and not that I've come in to lose at all, but I'm expected to lose because he's more proven, he's more experienced, he's been at world level before, and this is my first step into that realm. I'm really, I say dipping my toe, I'm jumping head first into the water, really. So yeah, the general conversation is that I'm expected to lose in this, but I think that's been a running theme for I don't know how many fights now with, well, this is the step too far and this is the step too far. And like Simon said, every time I seem to find a way to win. There's many qualities that it takes to be a world champion, and maybe not doing things perfectly, but finding a way to win is one of those as well.
Do you see yourself as favourite going into this one, Joe?
A lot of people are saying I'm the favourite going into this fight. I don't see myself as a favourite. I'm treating this as my championship of the world fight. That's how you should treat every fight. I'm taking this guy very seriously, and I've been building way back in New Zealand, and now I'm in Ireland zoning in on what I have to do to prepare for what he brings.
Are you disappointed in any way, Joseph, this morning that we're not here talking about you fighting Usyk?
No. I can just fight whoever's in front of me, and that's what I can control. Anything else, that fight will come down the line. If it does, great. If it doesn't, so be it. But whoever's in front of me, that's who I'm going to deal with.
I mean, we respect Usyk, of course we do, but he says he's injured. Do you believe him?
He looked injured, when he was dancing.
Well, this was it. You're right, Joseph. If you're watching on YouTube, this is an injured Alexander Usyk, and you're about to see him. There he is, prancing about. You're listening in talkSPORT. Usyk's going through every move in the dance floor you could ever imagine.
I mean, what's the injury? Back injury.
Who knows?
Who knows? He deserves time off, and to when he does come back, hopefully we can get down the line. But for now, it's Levy Wardley. This is the one.
But it was thought you might wait for that time.
What's the point of waiting? I'm not getting any younger.
You need to fight, don't you?
I need to fight.
3 rounds.
I need to keep busy, months. And I want to fight as often as I can. So I'm very happy that this fight is locked in.
I get it. Stylistically, what we're going to see from the two of you on the night.
I think from me, it's pretty obvious what you get. I'm drama and entertainment one way or the other. You can either pick the first Fraser fight, where it's a 12-round war, or you can pick the second Fraser fight, where it's a 1-round blowout. So take your pick. It can be one or the other, or anywhere in the middle. I think the perfect thing about this fight is that it doesn't need all the la-di-da and all the selling and all the prancing around and tables flipping and kicking off at press conferences and all of that.
That's just not your thing, either of you.
It's not my thing. I'm pretty sure it's not Joe's thing either. But this fight sells itself. You look at our styles, you look at how we approach fights, and you just know when we get in the ring together, there's not really going to be either of us that's going to be too keen about taking a back step. So it's going to be fireworks. It's going to be drama one way or another.
Joseph, over 40 knockouts between the two of you.
Yeah.
Is this thing going the distance?
I don't think so. I don't think it's going to go the distance. We'll be prepared if it does, but I don't think so.
And both of you are ready. My God, we're talking weeks from now, aren't we? October the 25th.
7 weeks. It's going to come. It's going to come fast.
It's going to turn up.
Countdown now. Quick. Yeah. Guys, we're going to take a brief break at 11 o'clock. We'll bring you the news headlines. The other side of it, and I'm looking at the enormous number of people through the glass, both boys represented by their own management teams this morning. I think it's good to go, are we? Yeah. The other side of 11, we're just going to take a punt on this. We're going to get more from you the other side of this one. Is there anything, just before we hit the break, what annoys either of you? You seem the most placid individuals, even in each other's company this morning. I mean, he annoys the bejesus out of me now and again, Fabio. No, he doesn't. Mr. Jordan's phenomenal. What gets to you two? Does he annoy you in any way, Joe?
Not at all.
No.
And vice versa?
This is strictly business. Strictly
I find him really admirable. His career, his team, the resurgence, everything. I really look at him and think I think Joe is well known throughout boxing as being one of the nicest guys in boxing. It's something I can vouch for as well. I've known him pretty well. Like I've known him in passing and everything. We've always said hello to each other. Always been very nice. So
never sparred.
Never
sparred.
No.
We've crossed paths many times at fights, and events.
And we've been on Saudi shows at the same time and things like that. And we've been around each other. But no, again, this is one of those ones that doesn't need the hoo-ha and all of the rest.
Yeah.
Look, it's two fighters that you know what we're going to get. You know what we're going to deliver. It's going to be entertaining regardless. And there's too much on the line. There's too much at stake for it not to be either.
And without disrespecting each other, you see flaws in him, Fabio, that you'll exploit, and vice versa.
Big time. You're always going to watch and analyze and see what you can pounce on.
So you know what you're going to do in the night, Joseph, already?
Well, we're working on it now.
And you know, in your mind's eye, you know what you want to do in the night, Fabio.
Just try and figure out in the moment and just see what try something out, see if it works. Doesn't work, right, try something else, maybe that works.
Fantastic. You're both getting an amazing reaction from people getting in touch with the show this morning, and it's wonderful. We'll bring some of those messages to air the other side of 11 o'clock. It's Jim White and Simon Jordan, but with Joseph Parker and Fabio Wardley live on talkSPORT.
talkSPORT Sports Update, powered by the Nissan Van Range, helping business owners to work better and live better. Search Nissan Vans or head to your local Nissan Van Centre.
With your headlines at 11 a.m, I'm Nick Ellaby. Good morning.
Good morning, everybody. It is Monday morning, Monday, September the 8th. It's Jim White and it's Simon Jordan, and we are live on talkSPORT. We're also streaming live, of course, on a variety of different TVs, Samsung, Fire TV, just to name a couple, even Prime Video. Wherever you watch, we are here for you. And we're delighted this morning in the build-up to what will be a special fight at the O2 here in London next month. The two fighters involved, Fabio Wardley and Joseph Parker, who will take on each other on October the 25th in the O2 here in London. Both fighters have joined us here in studio, and it hasn't gone unnoticed this morning. This is no slanging match. There's a lot of mutual respect here, and it is much appreciated by you, the listener, by you, the viewer, by Simon and myself. Don't forget, you can watch Parker Wardley live and exclusive on DAZN, and talkSPORT will be right across it as well. It will be everywhere. Many of you messaging in this morning, 81089. What a civil, and this is from Dylan, who, Joe, is coming from, look at that, Melbourne in Australia. What a civilised chat between two professionals who clearly respect one another. Kudos to both of them because they know there's no malice here. This is purely a stepping stone to whoever wins it, moves on to the next opportunity. That's exactly how you see it.
That's what it is. It's just, I mentioned before, it's strictly boxing business. And the respect's always going to be there, but come fight night, it's going to be very different in that ring, as we all know.
Fabio, I have to say, there's one or two coming in. There's Jay. Fabio's a lovely guy and he's coming over as such, and he's a great professional. But I can't see him winning against Joseph. And also, it's an outrage that Joseph Parker has not been given a shot at Usyk. You don't really care about that, do you? Whether he fights Usyk or not, further down the lines, and
ultimately, it's out of his hands.
Yeah.
And I think if that was on offer, he would obviously pick the Usyk fight over me. It just wasn't in play for one reason or another for him, for the injury circumstance or whichever is going on with Usyk right now, which is why I give Joe more credit to say you've got that massive opportunity to hang in there, and there is a level of risk in coming here and fighting me and what I bring to a fight of potentially being a banana skin and sipping up for you. So yeah, and again, the general conversation is I'm expected to lose in this fight because he is the more experienced man, the older man. He's been in the game a long time. He's had either 40 or nearly 40 odd professional fights. So
it's a lot.
He's he knows his stuff. He knows his way around a boxing ring. And I'm the little old white collar guy who's just kind of skirting along and keeps seeming to find a way. So that narrative...
We're not going to say the white collar.
Fabio. We've bought into this a bit, this sob story that you're nowhere near.
I like selling it. I still like selling it. It seems to be working, so I'm going to keep peddling it.
But it is a big step up for you, isn't it?
No doubt. No doubt about it. Biggest test of my career. Biggest step up in my career. Biggest opponent in terms of experience and everything else you want to roll into that as well. Like I said, I'm not dipping my toe in the top end of the pool now. I'm diving in head first. But it's me that stepped up to Frank and said, look, I'm not trying to sit down. I'm trying to sit still. I'm here. I want to be in the mix. I want to be in big fights. I want to prove to people that I am very much well deserved to be in these top rankings. I am WBA interim. I'm ranked highly here. I'm ranked highly there. So I feel like, to me, I need to prove my place and prove my point, and no better way to do that than the number 2 man in the division.
Simon, I'm going to come to you in a second, but I'm just thinking, Joseph, and you're looking at my questions, you know what's coming over my shoulder. But 6 consecutive fights since the 2022 loss to Joe Joyce. What has changed for you?
What has changed?
People don't
Andy
like getting
Lee, I have Andy Lee and George Lockhart.
Yeah.
And I actually enjoy what I do now. Before, I was just doing it just because I had to do it, really. Or I just went along with it. Whereas now my passion for boxing and love for the sport has grown big time.
I mean, do you accept that whatever has happened to you is taking you from that level to this level?
Yeah, 100%. So since that loss, it was probably a blessing because I made positive change, great change.
Simon, I mean... You're a massive boxing enthusiast. I would have thought, and you're not the best at saying X will beat Y, but aside from that, it's almost impossible to read into what we might see on the night, because obviously it goes without saying these two will give their all.
Sure.
And we're sitting right in amongst them.
I mean, technically, Joe is a great fighter, always has been. And I think the change is that he steps in more now, lets his hands go more. I mean, we obviously saw a lot more of that with the Deontay Wilder fight. We've seen the change of direction post the Joe Joyce. Andy Lee's a big part of that. I mean, For Fabio, this is every time he steps into a ring, people think that he's going to get beat. They thought he was going to get beat by David Adelaide. He didn't. They thought he was going to get beat by Fraser Clark. He didn't. Justice Hooney, the balance slightly shifted, where they felt that Fabio was going to win that fight, and he got himself into all kinds of trouble in that fight and pulled it out. Now, he's got to be better, in my view, than the performance against Justice Hooney, because this is a world-class operator that can do what Justice Hooney could do as well and hit harder than Justice Hooney. Because if Justice Hooney could hit harder, I think there might have been trouble for Fabio in that fight. But like I say, Fabio keeps on moving up to the next level, keeps on moving up to the next level. And it's like the argument about Moses Atoma. You can only put him in with, he keeps on winning. You've got to keep on putting him in, keep on putting him in, keep on putting him in. It's a great fight. It's a great fight. The jeopardy in the fight, for with all due respect to either one of them, is for Joseph to some extent. I know that Fabio's talking about being the interim champion, but he's that close to getting a fight with Usyk for the WBO or having it taken away and then fighting for that belt, which is what he wants. He wants his belt back. This was a belt you had XYZ when you beat Ruiz, right?
Yeah.
Right, and then you lost it to Anthony Joshua over in Cardiff. So he's been there. He knows what it feels like, and he wants it again in a different way with a different trainer. I think the ingredients for this fight are fabulous. I really do. I think, as you see from these two guys, they're class acts.
Oh, yeah.
In the way that they operate.
Yeah.
The media likes to see menace. You want to see Mike Tyson walk across stage trying to have a fight with Lennox Lewis. That sells. There'll be plenty of menace in the ring. I'd rather see menace in the ring than see handbags outside of it. And this will be a proper fight, right?
Fabio, interestingly, Martin Keown, as you know, is with us this morning. He was saying to us he preferred when he played for Arsenal, playing on the edge, like up against someone that he really didn't like. And that would bring the best out in Martin. But here were you two getting on like a house on fire. On the night, how does that filter change?
See, I can sympathise with that in a certain way, but it's not what puts me on the edge is not, oh, I don't like that person. It's, I know this is a real test. I know that person is really good, really competent. They're really dangerous. This is a real step up. That's where I remember saying, like, basically agreeing the fight on the phone with Frank and the team and saying, yep, let's do this. And putting that phone down and getting this little tingle, little buzz in my body and being like, yeah, come on. All right, hang on. We're in a real fight here. Let's go. Let's get ready. I was stood outside the gym and I went back in. I was like, more rounds. Right. Come on. More in the bag. Let's get some more going. That little fire came from knowing that, not that, I don't have to not like him. That means nothing. Knowing that on the other side of the ring is a genuine, real competitor. That's where I get the spark, the buzz, the energy.
You the same?
I just get a buzz that I have a fight locked in. I just want to keep fighting as often as I can. I want to be in the ring and fight the best in the world, and I'm just happy I got this fight locked in. Like he said, I got this like little buzz, you know, and I just want to go to work. I want to do this and then go back to Ireland and put in more work.
What do you make of the transition that appears, Joseph, to be going on at the moment in the heavyweight division? Because AJ and Fury are out of the picture.
Yeah,
Usyk's resting up. Where is the division going?
There are big fights to be made. I mean, but Usyk is resting. You got Moses Atuma, who just had a good win over Dillian White. Also, the Carbayal's there, but he's not really that busy as well. So,
Daniel Dubois to come back in the mix.
Dubois back in the mix. He's fighting at the end of the year, I hear. So,
and what do you make to the young pretender Moses Atoma, Fabio?
Pretender?
Yes. Moses, if you're watching or listening this morning, I very definitely didn't mean that.
I don't know what he's pretending at. It's definitely not boxing.
You know what I mean?
No, not at all.
He's trying to get his hand at the main prize.
Not at all. Look, he is one. I have the privilege of sharing the gym alongside him as well, so I get to see some more insights, some more details.
What is that like?
Competitive. It's great because it's not just Moses, it's all the other guys in the gym as well, like your Lee Woods and all of those, and Alois Jr. and Jamie TKV and all Royston as well, and like the McCormacks who obviously Pat just fought on the weekend as well, and you're surrounded by all these A-class fighters, so there's no coming into the gym and having a relaxed day and a chilled day, because someone will shout at you, someone will tell you to pick it up, someone will take the mickey out of you if you're messing up too much or if you're not doing properly. So it's a heavily competitive but also encouraging environment.
I mean, the pinnacle, the man at the top, undoubtedly, no one can beat him, is Usyk. Can anyone beat him?
Me.
Any man can be beat. We've all got 2 arms, 2 legs, and we all bleed red. So, look, any man can be beaten. Usyk is one big puzzle, one big trick. Like he is the whole package. Yeah. But He can be beaten.
Tremendous fighter.
And you immediately said me.
Me, yeah. Give me the chance. But listen, don't even worry about that. This is the fight.
Yeah, of course. What are you going to bring in the night? What we're going to see then, Joe?
Like you said, fireworks. And Simon did mention that I like to throw my hands a lot more nowadays.
You ready for that, Fabio?
I've been throwing my hands since day dot. So
yeah,
look, I think again, I've said it time and time again, but it's not one of those fights that need the drama of selling. The drama will come on fight night, and it will be dramatic one way or the other. There will be moments of that fight, of that night in of itself, where people go, "Oh, round 3 that happened, and round 7 this went on, and it was a back, and it was a fourth." And I think it is going to be very. I've been in one fight of the year, or one fight of the year once for the Fraser One fight, and I think this could throw us in the mix again.
Could be another.
And just to finish with, both of you are in agreement, it will end in a knockout.
Again, like I say, drama, but someone is going down.
What do you make of these guys?
Well, I think they're class acts. My heart goes with Fabio, but my head goes with Joe.
Okay. Don't forget, and listen, guys, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Joseph, Fabio, thanks
Cheers,
for being with
Thank
us
you.
live in the show. Don't forget, you can watch Joseph Parker against Fabio Wardley live and exclusive on DAZN, and talkSPORT will be right across it as well. October the 25th at the O2. Should be a seismic night of that, there is no doubt. We're live in talkSPORT.
focus.
Good morning once again, everybody. Fabio Wardley and Joseph Parker have now left the studio. I love that. Ewan, the big Celtic fan, he's a great lad, Ewan. He's on the show quite a bit. Simon's finally figured out a way to correctly predict a fight. Pick both fighters to win. Thoroughly looking forward to this one.
I didn't know.
Your head goes with, or your heart goes with Fabio, right? Your head goes with Joseph Parker.
Yeah.
Many of you out there agreeing with that this morning. Many of you saying just refreshing to hear two guys at the top of their craft going in against each other, and there's no trash talk. Martin, you were the other side of the glass with producer Luke and the rest of the guys out there with Becky and Joe. What do you make of it?
Well, it was interesting because I obviously leaving my seat to go out, and I saw Joseph coming in, and you could just see a little bit of an edge, and I thought, okay, I've seen this before. These promoting fights, and then the boxers losing it a little bit. These guys were so measured. They're like gladiators. These are top people, great role models. I thought Fabio spoke really, really well. He knows the situation he's in, and Joseph's just getting better, isn't he? As a boxer, he had a good start, of course, and he had a few disappointments. He loves the business. He used the word love, actually.
Yeah.
Normally it kicks off, doesn't it, when they leave the studio? None of that. They were really respectful.
I mean,
really
Simon, do people out there prefer that mutual respect, or would they rather have Keown Van Nistelrooy?
I mean, look, I think when you look at the Eubank Ben, look at the hostility and the vim and vigour that goes with that, and the substance of the observations that get made in press conferences. It's all aggressive. It's all at one another's throats. You've got egg slaps in the face. You tell me that sold out 65,000 fans at Tottenham Stadium.
Oh, true. Yeah.
Horses for courses.
Yeah.
Horses for courses. I mean, the greatest showman of all, Muhammad Ali, spent his entire time degrading his opponents.
Yeah.
Right.
He was a master, wasn't he?
Yeah.
Martin, I'm glad you're sitting upright in your seat, because I want you to bring your A game to this, your A game of analysis. England beat Andorra 2-0. Andorra ranked 174th in the world. They've gone 14 competitive matches now without scoring a goal. Statistically, Kane ended with 12 touches. The centre-backs, Gahey and Dan Burn, finished with a combined 263. In other words, it's like this, across the pitch. This was Borefest, wasn't it? I mean, what did you learn after that?
Well, look, we're 5 games in now. Thomas Tuchel, he's nearly been there a year in the role. Lee Carsley actually had more games as an interim manager than this man. So it's been difficult for him in terms of lack of fixtures. I saw some improvement in the team in terms of the midfield. Anderson playing at a decent game, Madawaki on the right-hand side of the pitch. But it's also slow, methodical. I put it on. I watched the first 10 minutes, and they obviously 85% possession for England. They're camped on their the opponent's edge of their box. And I came back to it for the last 10 minutes and saw exactly the same thing. 2 crosses, 2 goals.
Did you enjoy it?
No, not at all. Didn't enjoy it. I think it's frustration for Thomas Tuchel. I think under the bonnet he's getting particularly angry, and I don't think the face we saw in the interviews was the one that I saw during the game. I think he was getting a bit hot under the collar, but he recognises and realises that, we thought we were bringing this manager in. He'd been the manager of Bayern Munich and PSG, and you compare, I know Simon's not necessarily the biggest fan of Southgate, who took us to a couple of finals in the Euros and a semi-final in the World Cup. You wonder, Jim, are we going to get back to that level? It's still early days. We haven't really played against anyone. We watched Spain at the weekend who, against a decent Turkey team, won 6-0, and you're wondering why we're not winning 6-0. So there's a few hiccups here. 1 or 2 Bellingham not available, Cole Palmer not available to the manager. But let's give it time. But I don't think there's a magic one with this England team. And it's just because we have a manager coming in now, stars and stripes, and won various things.
Does it
he's
need
not
a
really
one?
making it happen.
Do you need a magic one? I mean,
we need something.
What do you need?
Well, obviously the players need to be given the right messages. It looks like that's happening, but I think sometimes, Jim, Curtis Jones comes in, given an opportunity, then he's taken back out again. I mean, is this a sort of like freshers in terms of we just keep trying people but he should know already, who these players are. I like the opportunity for players. Dan Burn coming as central defence. No one would have ever seen that. Now he looks as if he's capable of playing at that level. He hasn't been tested, though. Has he got the pace for international football? So there's still lots of question marks here.
I'm coming your way, Simon. I want to hear what you've got to say, because pre-match, Tuchel said England would press more aggressively and play with a higher rhythm, and he called for players to demonstrate their pride in playing for England. Post-match, he felt there were signs of improvement.
I'm absolutely convinced that we are on the right way and on the right path. It's always on us to prove it. Of course, we have now 3 camps, very condensed, to show that we are on a way to create an identity and who has a good connection with whom, and that we make it more clear for the players how should our game look like. That we have clarity, and after the things are clear, intensity will come, accuracy will come. This will follow, but first of all, it's important that it's clear how we want to attack. It's clear how we want to defend. This was a very good first step.
We're on the way to creating an identity. Is that really where they're at?
I don't really care about these World Cup qualifying games. We're going to qualify for the World Cup. He's a tournament manager. Get him in a tournament, see how he gets on.
But you have to.
Why? Turkey probably had a go at Spain. Andorra didn't come here to win a game. They banked up and decided that they weren't going to let England score 6 goals and make it as difficult for England as possibly can. Yes, of course, England got to be better and move the ball quicker and make sure that they can break opposition down. When they get into the World Cup competition and they're playing against teams that fancy beating England, they'll get a better way of playing. I'm not in the slightest bit concerned by any of this, and any more than I was concerned by it with Gareth Southgate. I expect us to qualify. I expect us to qualify at a canter. And then I'm more interested in what we do in the tournament football. I'm more interested if Thomas Tuchel finds himself in a position that Gareth Southgate finds himself in, which is engineering good outcomes that gets you to semi-finals or finals, what you do in that moment when the game needs to be won, lost and drawn. That's what Thomas Tuchel is here for. And the rest of it is background noise. And yes, we want to see these compelling performances. But, yes, we want to see this aplomb. Well, with due respect, we didn't see much aplomb before the World Cup in 2022. We got beat 4-0 at home by the Hungarians, didn't we? What difference did it make?
When's the last time you enjoyed watching England?
Oh God, I don't enjoy watching England. I've enjoyed watching England for my first.
Well, there you go then.
My first ever England game was against Czechoslovakia in 1978, when Steve Coppell made his debut, and I was bored then.
But that's a problem, isn't it?
Probably in '96 against the Dutch.
But that's surely a problem.
But Jim, it's hard to judge because of the quality of our opponent. And that's the way that's the way the Euros is right now. Exactly. These amount of games, the teams that it's the tournament. The competition's huge now. Some of the teams that you're playing, so you can't really judge. Andorra, I mean, you say, was it 14 games since they've scored a goal? Do you know how many shots have they had in that period? They just sit on the edge of their box. It's an exercise.
If you'd have beat them 10-0, everyone would be going, "Oh, what was the use of that then? They're rubbish anyway." So, I mean, Thomas Tuchel, we know we're going to... Is anyone in any doubt we're going to qualify for this World Cup?
No, we're virtually there now. We're going to win the next game.
Thomas Tuchel's job is to make sure this team is functioning at a high level when we get to the World Cup against teams that will actually want to play against England rather than stop England from scoring 6 goals. And the Turks probably had a little go at Spain because they quite fancied themselves as a football nation.
But Martin's question, whether or not you're going to get to the level that you got to under Gareth Southgate.
Well, that's the challenge.
He's going to beat 4-0 by Hungary before the Qatar World Cup.
Getting to finals, getting to semi-finals, getting to finals. Yeah. Sitting your toe in the water of almost winning something.
But Gareth Southgate had, 102 matches, the most games that any other international man has ever had for England. This guy is only in the job for 18 months. It's gonna, it's got to hit the ground running. When I say about a magic wand, I'm not seeing massive improvements in the group. I'm not seeing us blow teams away. It's just, maybe this is just the reality now for England.
Would you not rather be sitting with me this morning?
It was a very quiet
Turkey
Villa Park.
0, England 6. Would you not rather be talking about that scoreline this morning?
That would be exciting.
England 2, Andorra 0.
Yeah, of course, that would be much more exciting, and that's what I probably would have expected.
Because that would induce a kind of bring them on type feeling.
We should be winning these games very comfortably. It shouldn't be that we're relying on an own goal and a cross that comes into the box. Okay, this is a new manager with new messages. He tried to make it a good start. It's not really a start. You've had 5 games, but he's like stitching in new information. Players when to press. We are, Jim, statistically, we are winning the ball back higher up the pitch, but we're not scoring more goals. And ultimately, that's where you're judged on, really. Are we improving? Is it more exciting? Are we hitting the back of the net? No, we're not. That's going down.
And that must be a concern.
Not really.
No?
He's given all these big-time Charlies an opportunity to have their moment in the time. All these people that the media think should be picked and all these players that think they should be picked, they'll get their moment and they'll get their rope to run with or hang themselves with. Rashford's this, Rashford's that, Rashford's the other, getting an England shirt and does bugger all. We'll see. He'll find his way through to get a team together that's competitive in the World Cup, and we will judge him solely on the basis of what his predecessor did, because he was brought in to win the World Cup. End of discussion. Nobody cares about the World Cup qualifying games. Yes, it's a nice little narrative that we can all sit here discussing. Wasn't it a wonderful performance against a crap team like Andorra? We beat them 6-0. But how are we going to get on when we play a proper team? That would be the conversation.
Well, I'll put it out to the listeners this morning. Are we wrong to judge England under Tuchel at this stage? And I'll also throw this out as well. When was the last time you watched an England game and could truly say you enjoyed it? you might want to let me know. 81089. You might want to give us a call. 03717 22 33 44.
Here's a question. Can England win the World Cup without Jude Bellingham? Or is the group better off without him? talkSPORT's Stuart Pearce says Bellingham looks like someone who's in it for themselves rather than the team, but Pearce hopes he's way off the mark.
At the moment, we think leaving Jude Bellingham out of the team would be outlandish. But for the greater good, if it's the right thing to do, it's always the right thing to do.
Bellingham's not at this particular camp. He's had shoulder surgery, of course. It's reported there's a rift in the squad over Jude not doing his fair share of media duties. talkSPORT's Perry Groves says the players will put up with that from Bellingham.
If Jude Bellingham isn't fit and not playing in the World Cup, I don't think we've got any chance of winning it. If he's playing and he's fit and he's flying, and Harry Kane is fit and flying, and we're talking about Declan Rice as well, then with those three, you have a chance of winning it.
England's World Cup qualifier in Serbia is live on talkSPORT tomorrow night. Amanda Staveley, meanwhile's Middle Eastern-backed consortium PCP International confirm they are not making an offer to buy Spurs. The club say they've rejected interest from PCP and a Chinese-backed consortium. All this has come 4 days after Daniel Levy was ousted as chairman. Here's Simon Jordan, his good mate.
Feels like there might have been something in the background that Daniel was orchestrating or doing, and it may well be that he wanted to sell Tottenham Hotspur. He wants his huge amount of money as a result of it and probably wanted to stay in situ. So if that's the case, that will go to the explanation of why it's happened so quickly.
And Yannick Sinner says Carlos Alcaraz has no weaknesses in his game after the latest chapter in their great modern rivalry. The 22-year-old Spaniard beat Sinner in 4 sets to win the US Open. You can read more on talksport.com.
It's showtime on talkSPORT with BetMGM. Get ready for the golden era of sports betting. Visit betmgm.co.uk or download the app. 18+gambleaware.org.
It's that time. And on this occasion, we're joined by Dan Towse from BetMGM. We're going to look at some of the odds around some of the top sporting events at the moment. Dan, good morning to you. Let's start with the two lads who were in studio a short time ago. Joseph Parker, Fabio Wardley, and it comes up next month in the O2. What do you think?
It does indeed. Morning, gents. Yeah, as you said, you had the two boxers in the studio this morning. I thought they were hugely respectful of each other and they both come across brilliantly. Parker is currently around the 1-2 mark and is the favourite for the fight, with Wardley around 6-4. Parker is on a 6-fight streak since losing to Joe Joyce in Manchester, by which time this fight comes round. That will be over 3 years ago. Whilst Wardley, 3 years younger than Parker, and despite a draw against Fraser Clark last year, has won 18 of his 19 fights. He's the outsider, but he's shown his last fight, well, I think he was behind in every round before he knocked out Justice Hooney, that he has significant power and will be a danger to Parker. Either way, I thought they both come across brilliantly, as I said this morning, and on paper, we're in for a great fight.
I think we are. And that is one fight that you will go to, Mr. Jordan.
Yes.
Yes.
Most certainly will.
Absolutely. Yeah. He'd love to be this tonight, Belarus, Scotland. What are you thinking on that one, Dan?
Well, he might be the only one there because there's no Tartan Army or Belarusian fans tonight. The game being played behind closed doors in Hungary. Only one game played in the group so far, with the Scots, as we know, coming off a 0-0 draw in Denmark. And they're on a run of 4 away games unbeaten, which includes 3 clean sheets, which Sean Martin keeps telling me. Steve Clark's side head into the game as odds-on favourites, with the hosts as big as 13-2. Denmark are still the 5-4 favourites to win the group, with Scotland as big as 3-1 to finish top of the table and qualify automatically for next year's tournament. Just a brief touch on England tomorrow. They travel to Serbia, and as you mentioned, a slightly underwhelming performance on Saturday. England unbeaten in World Cup. Slightly, yeah. England unbeaten in World Cup qualifiers in the last 16 away fixtures. You have to go back to 2009 when a certain Mr. Rob Green was sent off in a 1-0 defeat against Ukraine for the last time they suffered an away defeat. Lots been made about the scoreline and whether we should be putting 4, 5 or 6 goals beyond these teams. Martin, you just discussed that at length, and you mentioned about tournament performances only really matter. Was this a chance, and it was discussed on talkSPORT on Saturday as I was listening, was there a chance to try something different as opposed to Harry Kane up front? Because as we saw in the Euros last year, Kane wasn't top of his game. He's still an incredible, talented striker. His record in the Bundesliga to start this season is again, very, very good. But I'm just a little bit worried for us from a forward-looking perspective and whether we've got a backup to Kane should the worst happen.
Well, they looked at Ivan Toney, didn't they, for what was it, 2 minutes, I think, in the last games for England in this last season. Mm-hmm. Ollie Watkins didn't make that start. I suppose Harry has to keep showing that he's the number one. But yeah, it would be nice if we could be blooding in some youngsters into that position. So many young players now coming into the game. You're looking at Jim saying, well, where's that next centre forward going to come from? So no, it's an area. But Harry Kane always, he's a top player. You can't argue with the statistics that he has. But he's not like someone who's going to run past a player, is he? It's balls into the box. He's got a link, and Henry at the top of the team runs past players and just embarrasses the opponent. But we weren't capable of that.
And of course, on Friday night, Dan, Scotland with a great point in Copenhagen. What was your takeaway from that, Simon?
I didn't pay any attention to it, quite frankly.
Thanks very much indeed. So Belarus, Scotland, being played in Hungary tonight. And I'm thinking, Dan, it's a decent Scotland win. I'm going to go for that because I think Scotland getting better with each performance. And I'm hoping we can get something out of that and I can go back in tomorrow morning and rub some humble pie into this man's schnozzle. Rory McIlroy wins the Irish Open in some style, Dan Towse.
He did. Grandstand finish in the golf. His putt on the 18th was met with one of the loudest cheers I've heard for a TV at a golf tournament in a long time. Only one of 2 players to get an eagle on the 18th yesterday, and it was needed, given the clubhouse score put in by the Swede Joachim Lagergren. Once he went to the playoff, I felt there was only one winner, and Rory went on with it to win his second Irish Open to add to his Masters victory earlier this year. But the focus now turns for Rory and co to the Ryder Cup. I'm not so sure the Americans will be as hospitable as the Irish crowd were.
I thought Rory though was inspirational, wasn't he? All those youngsters. I don't think there was anybody over the age. What I saw of the crowd over the age of about 15, and all those young Irishmen. What an inspiration for them. The future of golf in Ireland is secure. when that man's on the to win in his hometown like that, Jim. Brilliant. It was.
I'm hearing you get quite emotional watching.
It was amazing. Obviously, they went to 3 holes 3 times. They played the 18th, and we were back and forth. It didn't look like he was going to do it, and the other fella puts the ball in the water, and then he steps up. So it was lovely to see.
Yeah, this didn't involve an Englishman, Simon. So you're not particularly bothered about it either way. Rory's from Northern Ireland.
Is he back in favour now?
Scotland or Scottish?
Is he back in favour? Because it wasn't so long ago that everyone was pulling Rory McIlroy to pieces because he had the audacity to say to the media, "I want to take a break from talking to you."
You got a good result though in Denmark. You've got to be happy with that, Jim.
Well, thank you. I put that to Simon moments ago and
0-0. Yeah,
and get trashed
I
for
thought
it.
that wasn't bad.
Yeah. Oh, I tell you,
time for another holiday.
We come away with
public holiday.
We come away with the 3 points tonight. Then we will be delighted. Dan Towse, thank you very much indeed. Get back to running BetMGM, and that was a look at BetMGM. You can visit betmgm.co.uk or download the app. 18 plus. BeGambleAware.org.
It's showtime on talkSPORT with BetMGM. Keep things golden with responsible play at betmgm.co.uk. 18 plus gambleaware.org.
Now, following that decisive 2-0 win for England against Andorra, is it wrong for us to judge Thomas Tuchel right now? When is a good time to judge him? What, when you're lining up just before the final over at the World Cup final there in America next summer? Is that the best time to do it? Many of you getting in touch at this lunchtime. We're not quite at lunch. We're not far off it. And Lee is a big Chelsea fan and no doubt an England fan. Lee, where are you with this at the moment? Because are you someone I'd like to ask and get some kind of an honest answer? Lee, Chelsea and England fan. When's the last time you watched England and enjoyed it?
It was said earlier on the Holland game, because to watch us now is dire. I mean, I'm almost going through TVs where I'm shouting and screaming and throwing things around because it's just not fun to watch no more. It's just, you're fed up getting your heart broken every time you turn the TV on. You think something's going to be different, but it just don't pan out.
Yeah, I mean, Lee, that is such a good point. Watching what you saw on Saturday, what is your true view of what you watched on Saturday? A 2-0 win over Andorra.
I find it embarrassing, really. You know, we should, with the plethora of stars we have at our disposal, we should be knocking 4 or 5 at least past these teams, but we're not. It just looks almost redundant, boring style of football. And it doesn't fill you with no sort of like hope or anything that we're going anywhere apart from back. I don't think Tuchel's going to be able to do much better with what he's doing, you know.
Yeah, but Lee, Simon says these qualifiers don't mean anything. They don't matter.
No, I agree. I agree. These they're nonsense. They don't mean a thing. People expect us to knock goals past these people, which is just not happening. And I do believe if we keep going with Kane up front, I think this is just going to be the way it is now. I think this is just going to be the generalisation of people know what to expect, and they know how to defend against it. I don't think Kane brings too much to the England team anymore. I really don't.
Okay, Lee, listen, thanks for the call. Gary's a big Crystal Palace fan. Martin, let's hear from him, because at the moment, the thought process is, no, it's too early to judge England. Judge them because they'll qualify. And they will qualify, of course. But judge them when they get to the finals next summer. Is that the way you look at it, Gary?
Yeah, that's the way I see it. Truth is, I think there's 2 big key issues here. I think the first one is we don't get any momentum in the 2 games. There's 2 games, 2-month break, 2 more games. I think this has been going on even since the beginning of Southgate. One of the issues is we get to the tournament, we get a consistent squad together, we see the same players. Every single squad, there's 5 or 6 changes. The second point I also think is there's an issue here in the Premier League in general. Lack of English players is one of the issues, but also getting up for big games. We've seen that in the likes of Man United and other big squads. These players, there's inevitability about these results, you know. And some of these players, they struggle to get up for the big games and they don't deliver.
So why is it different then for Spain? Why is it different for the nations that we're looking at to try and emulate, for the French? Why is it that the same conditions that you just spoke and described are the same conditions that the French national team will play under, with the same set of circumstances? So why is it we are constantly
under-aroused by our England team, not enamoured by the performances, bored within an inch of our life in the last tournaments, and looking at this group of players now thinking, well, we're supposed to have all this talent, we're supposed to have all this capability. We've now got a German manager that's worked at the highest level for the biggest clubs in the world, not being able to produce a tune from the same sort of players that we criticised for doing the same thing under Southgate, and we blamed it all on Southgate. What's your opinion on all that?
My view is that culturally we're very different. I think if you look at Spain and France, they've developed their youth sides to progress through the system. We do put some young blood in. There is examples of that. But I don't think we still, the last caller mentioned about sticking the likes of Kane. I think there's young talent that we could have brought in much earlier into the fray to mix it up a little bit more. I don't think we play at the speed that we do when we go to under 21s and under 18s. I think that sort of works out, and we're dependent on these big names constantly, and we have to fit the big names in. This has been a generational issue. It happened back with Scholes and Gerrard and Lampard, and I think that hasn't changed.
Are you looking for a convincing win against Serbia, or is that too much to hope for?
I won't even be watching. The reality is, as I say, I think there's an inevitability. I think a lot of people don't even watch the qualifiers now. I just wait till the tournament game starts and I judge the manager and the players at that stage, like Simon said earlier.
Okay, listen, Lee, thank you very much indeed for the call. It is Serbia next. Martin, you come in.
Well, we just had two boxers in here.
Yeah.
That described how it feels when you know you're in against a quality opponent. You referred to me, but it's a lot easier for me if I didn't like the person to clout them round the head, yeah? And it doesn't reach the pity of my stomach, does it, when it's Andorra at home or away? Do you know, it's like it has to be. And you're looking at France, they've had some tricky games in recent weeks or recent game because they were in the Nations League and they got to the last stages. So
you're still putting on an England shirt.
Yes, but what I'm saying is I with all the demands of the calendar for an English player, you know, you see the list of teams you've got in the Champions League. I don't think the Andorra game is quite as meaningful. I know you're playing for your country, but it's not in the pit of your stomach like it is for these two boxers.
Is it too much to ask that they get themselves up for it?
Well, let's judge them when we get to a fixture, when it really does matter.
I
think that's what Simon's talking about. I know that, but we should be able to win these games 4 or 5-0.
We're hearing people
I don't think it's a buzz.
They can choose now.
It's certainly not a buzz to watch it.
I won't bother with that one.
It's not a buzz.
I might watch that one.
Is it a buzz to watch it? You know, to look at it. Andorra, home and away, we've played them twice now. We've only managed 3 goals. I don't know how many shots.
But Simon made a good point. How come the French and the Spanish go up for every game? It would
well, they don't do that in every tournament. I looked at the French closely before the Euros last time round, and they weren't great. But it was like, okay, they just put it to one side. But when it came to the tournament, they were certainly up for it and did okay, do you know?
All right, well, when we come back the other side of the break, we'll go to Belgrade. We'll find out live how much England are up for it, because it's Serbia next. chapter after that. It's Jim White, Simon Jordan and Martin Keown. We're live on talkSPORT. Next up for England, Serbia. World Cup qualifier. It's live on talkSPORT tomorrow night. Let's get out there now. Beograd, Belgrade, to you and me. Let's head out and join talkSPORT's England correspondent, Faye Carruthers. Faye, hi to you. Serbia certainly will be a bigger test than Andorra were ever going to be. What was your takeaway to England 2, Andorra 0, Faye?
It was better, Jim, which it needed to be, because Thomas Tuchel had said after that first Andorra game in June at Espanyol's stadium that he didn't feel as if the players really treated it like a World Cup qualifier, and you certainly felt like that. You know, lots of mitigating circumstances, if you like, in terms of it being the end of the season, but you know, they weren't really at it at all. They were definitely right from the off on the front foot against Andorra at Villa Park on Saturday. The disappointment, I think, when you look at the scoreline, is that they didn't score more goals, and they could have scored more goals and should have scored more goals. But the creativity was there, so I think that's the biggest positive to take from it. Some of the things that they practiced in training just didn't quite pull off, but it was definitely better. I don't think there's any reason to panic in qualifying. 3 points is just the most important thing, really, and the performances start to come when the teams start to gel.
I mean, Simon was saying earlier, Faye, it's wrong to judge Tuchel's England at this stage in the proceedings. Do you go with that?
Yeah, I agree. It's very difficult. You can't replicate, and Martin will be able to tell you this, you can't replicate a World Cup tournament feel and the importance of those games versus qualifiers that you're expected to win. We're still in the experimentation phase. This is 4 camps we've got now until we head out to Florida, to Miami, for the warm-up games ahead of the World Cup starting. You know, that time's going to go very quickly, and you know, this is the intense moment that they need. And Thomas Tuchel's talked a lot about competition and needing to ramp up the competition within the squad in order to try and replicate what it's going to be like out there. But I think Simon's exactly right. It's very difficult to compare what England are going to be like against, you know, the big hitters. And by the way, we're not going to see some of the big hitters for quite a while, because this is a 48 team tournament that we're going to be experiencing out in America and Canada and Mexico. So we are going to be facing smaller nations, and it is going to be harder to get up for those games, but easier, you know, once we're out there, I think.
Faye, I think the quality of our opponent is a problem, and I'm looking at the central defenders. Obviously, Harry Maguire not making the squad, and John Stones, and wondering if John Stones now really needs to perhaps retire from international football, because he has issues with injuries. He's not able to get through the extensive calendar that we talk about. We often discuss this, Simon and I. And he's a top player. He has a contract that runs out at the end of the season, and he's had to step out of the England squad for these double games. And I think it's about time maybe now that John really looks at that closely. But that's a huge loss, and that's something the manager has to manage, because we have 2 big central defenders. Colwell has suffered a cruciate ligament injury, so we're starting again a little bit with the central defenders. And Dan Burn, you know, coming in late, he's been used now. He's become a very, very important central defender. So there are question marks in certain in defensive areas, but they're not going to be tested until we get to a tournament. So that is a concern for me.
Yeah, I know exactly what you mean, but I mean, John Stones is still our best central defender. He's England's best central defender.
But Faye, only when he's
without
fit,
a doubt.
and he's very rarely fit.
Well, yes. Well, he hasn't been fit recently. I think it's unfair to say he's very rarely fit when he has played a lot of football. He's absolutely gutted that he had to pull out of this camp, because obviously he hasn't actually played under Thomas Tuchel yet because he's been injured. It was a muscle problem that caused him to pull out. But it is interesting when you listen to Thomas Tuchel talking about John Stones and where he sees him. He still sees him first and foremost as a central defender, but he's also an option at 6, which is a problem position for England, and he probably would have played at 6 against Serbia had he been fit enough to do that. It's been great that we've been able to see Elliot Anderson play in that position. I'd like to see him play against Serbia to see how he handles a more physical opponent. But you know, we do still have good central defenders as backup. Konza has been coming through and playing his part. Mark Gahey is a superb defender, and actually it was between on the left-hand side. When I spoke to Thomas Tuchel the other day, he was comparing Mark Gahey and John Stones as competing on that left-hand side of the two central defenders. So, you know, we have strength in depth, Dan Burn as well, and if you think, you know, set pieces are going to be the thing to unlock many of these really deep defences, then Dan Burn is a perfect opportunity. And actually, if you watch the game against Andorra, quite often when Declan Rice was on set pieces, he was putting the ball from the corner position, he was putting the ball to the far post with Dan Burn ready to knock it down into the 6-yard box. So I think his aerial presence is going to be really important for England going forward.
Okay, Faye, we are going to hit the 12 noon bulletin at this end. Faye over in Belgrade. It's live in talkSPORT. Serbia against England tomorrow night. Martin, I mean, many will say, well, how long are you lot going to blame the quality of the opponent?
Yeah. Well, no, look, if it's okay for the two boxers to say that they get that feeling in the pit of their stomach because they know what they're up against, the quality of the opponent, why is it not okay for a footballer to feel the same way?
We saw at the Euros in Germany.
You're always very proud, Jim, there's no doubt. But when France play Germany, as that's what's happened recently, and France beat them, that is a major fixture. When we play Germany, we play Italy, it just raises the bar just a little bit. And I think the Andorra game, I mean, the manager said it himself. The last time they played them, he didn't really feel that they treated it.
We all remember England struggling to get past Slovenia. We all saw the last gasp goal from Jude against Slovakia. I mean, here we are saying, you know, the quality of the opponent is a problem for England. Honestly?
Well, look, Thomas Tuchel has got to find that way of playing. We've seen how
just a bit.
We've seen how incredibly successful he's been at Chelsea.
Old toad. That's not what people are saying at all. What they're doing, they're giving you some context.
Martin just said the quality of the
Martin's
opponent
original position was about the performance in of itself and wasn't happy with it.
Is a problem for England.
I then talked about the opposition making it difficult to play against because they weren't interested in winning the game.
You said judge them in the tournament.
Yes, indeed I did. But I also because you wanted to bring Turkey.
But then we see the same England when it comes to the tournament.
Well, we haven't been in the Thomas Tuchel yet.
We've still gone to the latter stages.
The argument with Gareth Southgate and my argument with Gareth Southgate was when it came to really put it on top and make decisions that change the direction of travel, could win us tournaments, he didn't do it. Right. I think Tuchel's got that gene. The same thing will happen in the qualifiers, as has always happened in the qualifiers, that the opposition that we play against will be substandard. We'll learn nothing from it. What would you have learnt if England had beaten Andorra 6-0? We'd be sitting in this competition going, you'd be sitting in this studio.
It'd be much more of a box ticker for you.
You'd be sitting there going, well, it's terrible that we've got these crap teams in the competition. Why are they playing these crap teams? And what are we learning about England?
I'd have been saying to Martin that clearly there's goals in England, and that's good.
The only thing we need to learn, when England beat Iran 6-1 in the World Cup, we had the same group of players, or a different, same centre forward. People are talking about changing Kane. We've got a dearth of centre forwards around the world. Who are we going to change Kane for? We maybe need to set ourselves up slightly differently. The fact is that when we play against the opposition that matter, this is the only question that's been yet to answer. Gareth Southgate, the only question that Gareth did not answer was, can we beat a side on paper that we're not odds on to beat?
But
that's what Tuchel's been put.
But you played opponents in Germany last summer in the finals, and you were turgid then.
But we got to a final. They got to a final. I mean, it was crap, boring, dull, but they still got to a final. We're now killing them before they even got there.
Is there anything to suggest you won't be turgid at the finals in the summer next year?
I'm pretty confident that he'll get it right. When the tournament comes round, and we have opponents that really in the pit of your stomach, you really want to play against. I think, Jim, and maybe the Scottish will do the same, but they've got to qualify. They've got to qualify first, whereas England look as if they're pretty well there.
Fingers crossed for you. 03717 223344. What are you seeing at the moment in Thomas Tuchel's England?
talkSPORT Sports Update powered by the Nissan Van Range. Commercial vehicles built around your business. Search Nissan Vans or head to your local Nissan Van Centre.
With your headlines at 3 minutes past 12, I'm Nick Ellaby. Good afternoon. Martin Keown told White and Jordan after 1 year in the England job, Thomas Tuchel should have a better idea of his first 11.
Curtis Jones comes in, given an opportunity, then he's taken back out again. I mean, is this a sort of like freshers in terms of we just keep trying people, but he should know already, who these players are. I like the opportunity for players.
After a 2-0 home win over Andorra, England's biggest test in this group is away in Serbia, live on talkSPORT tomorrow night. Mark Gahey has trained with the squad today. Now, Amanda Staveley's consortium PCP International confirmed they are not making an offer to buy Spurs. The club say they've rejected interest from a Chinese-backed consortium as well. For Simon Jordan, Spurs' statement helps him understand why Levy was pushed out as chairman.
Rather than personality clashes, rather than people becoming fed up with one another, it would appear to me that there are other things at play here. And again, it's a supposition on my part, but Spurs putting out a statement saying, we're not for sale. If you want to make an offer, make a formal offer, you've got to apply with Rule 9. Why do that?
Meanwhile, Joseph Parker's told White and Jordan he's hoping to fight Alexander Usyk when he returns from his back injury, despite videos emerging online of Usyk dancing at a party.
He deserves time off and to, when he does come back, hopefully we can get down the line. But for now, it's Fabio Wardley. This is the one.
Parker was asked if next month's heavyweight fight with Fabio Wardley could go 12 rounds.
I don't think so. I don't think it's going to go the distance. We'll be prepared if it does, but I don't think so.
Wardley's admitted he is second favourite, but said he's defied expectation many times before. Watch White and Jordan's exclusive interview with both fighters back on the talkSPORT YouTube.
talkSPORT News.
A former army sergeant has admitted sexually assaulting a 19-year-old soldier who later took her own life, and at least 6 people have been killed in a shooting in Jerusalem and several others injured. More from the news team at past.
talkSPORT weather with QuickFit. Come rain or shine, wherever and whenever suits you with our mobile tyre fitting service. Now that will have you driving away happy every time. Conditions apply.
Scattered showers in the west, spreading across most of the country by the afternoon. Plenty of warm sunny spells between. In the east, staying largely dry.
Good afternoon, everybody. 6 minutes past 12 noon. It's Jim White, it's Simon Jordan, and it's Martin Keown. And of course, we're in the thick of this international break, but Tottenham, with the departure of Daniel Levy, very much the developing a big domestic story here in the world of football. And in the world of football, as the World Cup qualifiers go on, Scotland in action in Hungary tonight against Belarus, certainly. Let's hope for the points in that one. And England go in against Serbia tomorrow night in Belgrade. It's live on talkSPORT. And maybe England will be set a tougher test than was set by little Andorra on Saturday night at Villa Park. So at the moment, apparently, it's also a problem when England come up against vastly inferior opposition. But what makes you think there's going to be this vast improvement when England, as they will do, get to the finals themselves next summer? What makes you think that automatically England will rise to the occasion and maybe go deep in the World Cup finals in the US, in Mexico next summer? What is there for you to believe that? 03717 223344. It's all about Thomas Tuchel being in the hot seat. I'm getting many calls coming in on this. The way you're looking at me, you look as if you're about to punch me in the mouth.
No,
What
I'm
would
just
you like
looking
to
at you
say?
curiously. You were curiosity to me, so I'm looking at you whilst you're speaking.
You're more than welcome to look at me. Thank you very much indeed. Martin Keown is alongside Simon and myself. David's a big Sunderland fan. David, what makes you believe that England will go deep next summer from what you're seeing at the moment? Because these are very different games, and we shouldn't take too much from them, we're led to believe at the moment, David. Do you agree?
Absolutely not. I can't see us going anywhere in the World Cup next year. I think the people that they talk about, our new golden generation that are going to carry us forward, where's Foden? Where's Grealish? Rashford? They've all dropped away. We play with absolutely no energy. We're setting up against postmen and teachers with the most lethargic energy you've ever seen in a football team. I know we're saying they set up deep. Well, if Liverpool play all in the cup and all the shots set up deep, I expect Liverpool to batter them. And the truth of the matter is, we play with no ambition. It's fine. We don't have to set up with 4 up front, 3 across the middle. But at least play with energy. At least play with purpose. At least look to dominate opposition. We've gone through the motions time and time again. And we found out against, I believe it was Senegal, that if you go through with motions against a marginally better team, you get found out very quickly. And I don't see... But at least play with energy. At least play with purpose. I don't see...
We're just losing your line at the moment, David, but we get your gist. Kevin's a big Leeds United, no doubt England fan. Kevin, good afternoon. I mean, do you accept that, from what Martin's saying and to an extent Simon, these games are meaningless? The game on Saturday night against Andorra, somewhat meaningless, because it's also very difficult to judge Tuchel's England on a result and on a performance like that.
Hey guys, you're right.
Hi, Kev.
To a certain extent, yes, they are meaningless, but we do need to be picking up the 3 points to qualify for the main tournament. In terms of the style and play and Tuchel, it's quite clear Tuchel's got one mission, and that's this World Cup. So why is he going to think about future players? He wants the strongest team possible for this Cup. Second to that, he's got a very small window to get a style of play that he keeps barking on about. So just like Amorim with his little magnet board against Grimsby, England and the quality we have do not need to be setting up a separate game plan for the likes of Andorra. We should have enough to be going through. I think he's personally setting up a team, giving them an identity, a style of play that is going to be more effective against the bigger fish. And if that means we have to play boring football and wait for a team to come at us and then we can lunge and counter-attack with the speed and quality we've got rather than playing these low-blocking teams we're playing now, then I'd much rather be Andorra 2-0 but win the bloody thing this year rather than losing the final against a bigger team, but at least we whooped Andorra 7-0 in the cup playoffs.
Do you believe in any way that England could go all the way in the summer next year and win it?
I think players are a massive thing. The manager's a tiny cog. Players' form, injuries, a whole plethora of things have to come together for that to happen. Do we have the ability? Yes. Do we have the talent? More than definitely. But everything needs to align perfectly. And then we need to have a good, the press as well, the fans, we all need to go together. But I do think we need to use the time he's got now in creating this identity against the bigger teams, because that's where we're going to win the cup. We just need to get through these little teams that we're playing now. No disrespect, but low blocking teams, 5-0, running in behind, it's going to prove nothing. We've done it in the past, and then we lose, like Simon says. The first time we get tested against someone we shouldn't be on paper, we fail. Well, if this time we have an identity and all the lads now they're playing, and it suits our style of play styles make fights, same in boxing, same in football. Let's wait and see till we get there. Let's get there. Doesn't matter how we get there. Let's get there. Then let's see how we fare against France, Spain, Belgium.
Kevin, thank you for that. Before we hear from Martin again and Simon, we'll hear from you, Chris. You're a Tottenham fan, no doubt, an England fan. It's always been said, in this very studio we've said it, England come unstuck when they're up against someone they're not expected to beat. So at the moment, Chris, is there anything that indicates to you Tuchel's England, come next summer, when you're up against someone you're not expected to beat, you'll buck that trend and beat that opponent?
I just think you can't read tell, Jim. Good morning, Simon. Good morning, Jim. Yeah, nice. Always love hearing from you, Simon. Don't worry about that. Yeah, essentially, no, I don't know who you've got on this show, right? Who this good on, but you had somebody ring up Anne Brazil earlier, reckoned, you should play Marcus Rashford over Harry Kane. I mean, is he off his trolley? Honestly, I mean, okay, if it's a toss-up between Harry Kane, Marcus Rashford, Harry Kane is going to win any day of the year, right? But if it's a toss-up between Cole Palmer or Harry Kane, then Cole Palmer would get a nod in my books. But I agree that they shouldn't have played Harry Kane at the Euros with an injury. I agree that. But fully fit Harry Kane, you play him any day over Marcus Rashford. You really would.
And Chris, two questions really from me. Have you got the players who should go out and beat Andorra by more than 2?
Well, yeah, absolutely. But again, the bottom line is, what would be worse? We lose these games.
That would be a story. Have you got the players who can go to the World Cup finals next summer and win the trophy?
Well, yeah, definitely. Look at Jude Bellingham, future Ballon d'Or winner. Declan Rice, quality midfielder for Arsenal. Harry Kane, one of the best centre forwards in Europe. We could do it, but obviously it's going to be difficult, don't you, Rob? Because Argentina are good. Brazil have got Ancelotti now, and he's going to really, really push to win that World Cup. So it's going to be difficult, but I certainly think we're in the top 5 at least. And by the way, while I'm on the radio, I actually think they should scrap World Cup qualifiers altogether. If you were in the top 20 FIFA World Rankings, you should not have to play to qualify for a tournament, right? And I'll tell you why, because we're in this era now of players getting burnt out over team matches, scrapping for certain teams, right? Have a league of Andorra, Estonia, Lithuania, all them lot, San Marino, let them fight it out.
So during this call, you're finishing off with let's have a Super League for international football.
Pretty well, yeah.
Pretty well. Listen, Dave, Chris, thank you very much indeed for that. What's your takeaway from all of this? Because
well, I mean, look, he was listing all the core group, isn't it? And you look at what you've done in previous tournaments. Yeah. You look at the core group and you look at Bellingham and Rice and Pickford and Kane and you say, okay, we've got an opportunity to do something in the next tournament. But to judge the performances, against some of the opposition that we're playing at now is really very difficult. And there's a new manager coming in as well. I assume that we will bring our A game to the table when we finally get to the World Cup in the summer. But at the moment, it's a bit dour to watch it and uninspiring. But I'm hoping it improves in the next
Will Serbia give you more of a run for your money tomorrow night?
Well, first versus second in the group, but, a win has to focus the mind because you want to qualify, and that really puts.
Will the England boys be able to get up for that one?
Of course they will. Of course they will. But as we say, the fixtures, it's a busy time if you're a top player right now. But you all want to play for your country.
Great though, must be great.
Well, I mean, listen, they didn't have to really raise a sweat, did they, in the game against Andorra? So we should see their A game coming up now.
Yeah, you'll have to raise a sweat against Serbia. Because they will want to beat England.
Well, because they're playing in Serbia for a start. So that will mean that there's a certain expectation and demand upon them.
I am concerned.
The only thing that Tuchel's been brought in to do is to make the decisions that weren't made in the World Cup semi-final in 2018. Yeah. Make the decision to take the game away from the Italians when you're 1-0 up rather than wait for it to happen to you. To make the decision when you're beating or you're putting the French to the sword, to overload the French and take the game away from them rather than have to get a penalty to get back into it. Those are the decisions that Thomas Tuchel's been brought in. The style of football, we can argue all day about the drabness of English football and how at international level it becomes pedestrian and boring. I sat through the Qatar World Cup being absolutely put to sleep watching England against the USA. I thought they were dreadful. And that's been symptomatic of our international football for some time. But Tuchel's been brought in to make the decisions that we suggest and people like me suggest Southgate didn't make. And that is it. That's the end of the conversation. He's got to factor in the fact that he's playing in America against the climate, so that might not help England. But Tuchel's been brought in for that. And the rest of it's just gravy.
But I was alluding to the John Stones issue, and I was talking about the dilemma that the player finds, that he doesn't get a contract for Man City unless he proves his fitness, that he's going off to play for England, and he's been injured for playing for England now on 5 occasions, gone back and not been able to feature for Man City. So, that's a concern for me. We're not getting tested. No one's running at Dan Burn yet.
Absolutely right.
And he manages well enough in the Premier League. But you are going to have to protect him a little bit.
Slaughtered at world level. If you've got Mbappe running at Dan Burn, forget about it. I mean, we asked Craig Crofts, who cares what Dan Burn can do at the back post? If we could defend against opposition, we need our centre halves to be able to defend at international level. Yeah. And with due respect to Dan Burn, John Stones is a far better player, but if he's not fit, Martin's point was right. If he's not fit, he's got to make a choice. He's got to stick or twist. You want a contract with Man City? Then okay, maybe you can't play international football. And England have got to build around a solid defensive unit to be able to combat the best in the world when they come at us.
Let's hope so.
Not their back post for a corner.
What were you saying about gravy a minute ago?
It's gravy.
Oh, it's great. What these ties are.
But the rest of the noise around it is gravy. I don't care how we win these World Cup qualifiers. I remember watching when I was a kid growing up, watching Malcolm McDonald score 5 against Cyprus. We still didn't qualify for the World Cup.
That was called off that game, wasn't it? It's
5-0 they won.
Yeah. Were you as outspoken then as you are now?
Yes, at nursery.
I would have sent him to bed early, Jim, wouldn't you?
Before all that happens, Scotland go in against Belarus tonight. And I can't wait, if Scotland do well and win it, to put that to Mr. Jordan tomorrow at 10. If Scotland lose, I won't be in. It's 12:15. Now, the very last chance for you to win the £25,000 in cash, plus Oasis tickets to the final show, Wembley, September the 27th. Here we go. 2 lucky winners. Yet 2 of you will win a pair of tickets to see Oasis live at Wembley. That's not all, though. Along with the tickets, you'll walk away with a massive £25,000 in cash. For all the details how to enter, listen up right now. Here it comes.
18 plus, UK excluding Northern Ireland. For a chance to win, text the word Oasis to 83338 and you're in the draw. Text costs £2 plus 1 standard network rate message. You must have the bill payer's permission. Or you can enter for free by calling 0330 880 338. All entries must be received by the 19th of September at 9 a.m. This is a talkSPORT limited promotion run on talkSPORT, Talk and Virgin Radio UK stations. Full terms and conditions at talksport.com.
Plenty of stories always seem to abound about supporters not happy with the way their club is being run. And that certainly is the case at the moment with a large number of Celtic fans, some of whom have been voicing their discontent in no small way over what they perceive to be a lack of ambitions from their boardrooms. And those calls intensified after they fell out of the Champions League, losing out to Kairat Almaty, of course. Celtic, for their part, spent £12 million in the summer bringing in 12 players, but the fans point to the failure to adequately replace departed stars such as Nicholas Kuhn, such as Kyogo, despite the club enjoying significant cash reserves. After the Champions League exit, a whole variety of things were said, and this was said by Brendan Rodgers.
It's very frustrating. As I said, we all know where we want to get to. We showed last year, like I say, the strides that I felt we took, but you have to build on that. The last thing you want to do in football is manufacture your own stress. You don't. That's what you don't want to be doing. But I think all we can do now is what we have to look at where we're at as a football club, and like I say, decide what way we want to go.
What way they want to go. I know what way many of the ardent Celtic fans want to go, but Simon, there appears to be quite a toxic atmosphere around Celtic at the moment amongst some of the most passionate of fans who are saying, no, that's not good enough. It's not good enough. Mm-hmm. And on Friday, a whole bunch of the fans met with the board, which led to a statement from Celtic, which, to say the least of it, was wordy. And it began with transfer activities attracts enormous attention and speculation, particularly across social media, and the mainstream media has commoditised the transfer window in its relentless search for content. I'm not so sure about that.
Absolutely right.
In connection with Celtic, we recognise that debate around this subject reflects the passion of our supporters. Unfortunately, as is often the case, the media and social media, there is inaccurate or misleading information in circulation. So the finger is being pointed a bit at the media. Mm-hmm. But Celtic would counter the feeling of the fans in a variety of ways. I think within Celtic, there is a feeling within the club that in the last 25 or so years, the club has been stabilised financially.
Well, was it unstable previously?
It wasn't the best previously.
Right.
The club has won 40 or so trophies.
Right.
Tens of millions have been spent on the squad in the last 2 or 3 years.
Yeah.
Nonetheless, many of the fans say it's not enough. And when you needed to move, at a time you needed to move, in other words, to eliminate a minnow like Kairat Almaty, you didn't give the right resources to the likes of Brendan Rodgers to do that.
But that's utter nonsense. I mean, are you telling me that Brendan Rodgers didn't have a good enough team over 2 legs to have laid a glove on these minnows? Agree with the idea that you need to strengthen your teams. Agree and disagree with the principles of the statement saying that the transfer window has been commoditised. Of course it has. It's a main industry now in terms of people talking about the content around transfer windows and what's happening in football clubs. It's part and parcel of the business of show.
Yeah, but the media doesn't dictate how a club does its business.
No, it doesn't. It doesn't, and it doesn't also necessarily have the accurate facts half the time.
So that's nonsense.
So his
observation
about the commodification of the transfer window is absolutely right. The challenges that I have with their statement is that they're making UEFA's governing rules part of the reasons why they can't do certain things.
Well, Celtic made £35 million profit last season and £11 million profit the previous season. So the 60 million losses that they're allowed to have under UEFA sanctioning is irrelevant to this conversation. So when they use the fact that they've got to run their football club sustainably, which I don't suggest that they shouldn't, and when they suggest that there's certain restrictions upon wages and transfer fees because of UEFA's governance, they're absolutely right. But what's that got to do with Celtic's position? Celtic are nowhere near the challenge of UEFA. UEFA allow them to lose 60 million euros every 3 years. Celtic have made 44 million euros profit over the last 2 years. That would mean there's somewhere in the region of 110 million euros worth of difference, if not more. So I'm not entirely sure why they feel the need to wheel that in, because it's not true.
You see, what baffles me about a statement like this, and the points I've made about from within Celtic are actually true. You know, like the club has been stabilised financially. The club has won 40 or so trophies. Tens of millions have been spent in the squad. But when they say, unfortunately, it's not always possible to conclude transfers either within the timescales that we target or at all, well, I'm afraid that's what the window's all about.
Well, what Simon?
That's the responsibility, not of the fans, but of those at the top of the club.
Yeah.
It's all about outcomes.
I mean, obviously, what Simon's talking about, you know, that they were inside the financial constraints. They didn't have a problem. They could have bought their players earlier, Jim, and it does freshen things up. I do have a sympathy. Celtic, the year before, they qualified by right. It seems to be a problem for Celtic, Jim, and the Scottish teams to qualify. This coefficiency is something that's really gone against Celtic. And this huge gap, I mean, it's like a life jacket for them when they manage to be in the Champions League, because the wealth that they get from
This isn't a go at the fans. This is a go at the media. They're not having a go at their fans. He's having a go at you and people like you, sitting there with your yellow tie on, talking about the transfer market and what people should and shouldn't do and how they should and shouldn't do it.
They put the statement out off the back of the backlash from the fans.
Well, I know creates that backlash in part.
But
media.
Jim, I know, Jim, that they look at
people like you,
the way they've done their business,
but and to some extent the way, and by the way,
or not done their business,
the way that Brendan Rodgers has managed their bloody team against a bunch of minnows that they should have had enough resource to be able to overcome. And this wouldn't have been ample. And then we amp it up, and then we amp it up. What's Celtic going to buy? They're going to buy a £5 million centre forward. Woohoo! That's going to scare Europe. But Jim, the Celtic fans would be happy because Celtic bought a £5 million centre forward.
I think
and they'll be able to have a go at their bosses or the people that run the club. It's
Simon,
nonsense.
I think, though, I mean, if you're going to sign for Celtic, I mean, a large part of this is, are they in the Champions League or not? These great nights.
I thought they had to win the Premier League. Yeah. I thought that was a big thing.
But as a player,
they're winning it every year.
As a player, it's like, well, I'll wait. Do you know what? I'll just wait to see if you qualify, and that's killing Celtic because they don't get the players in that they want.
None of the big players want to go to Celtic. What do they want to go to Celtic for? What's the biggest transfer fee that Celtic has spent in the last 10 or 15 years? The world's moved on from Scottish football. Once upon a time, with due respect to Scottish football...
Their budgets are...
The best players in the world are going to go there because of their budgets, not because they're bad football and because I'm taking the mickey out of Scottish football. If you're comparing it, the top players aren't... So what we're saying is you need better players to overcome these minnows. Pack it in.
Yeah, but you wait.
Rodgers shouldn't get a pass for this.
So as a player,
he shouldn't get a pass for this. Surely, Brendan Rodgers should be copping as much flack as the ball are for the fact that this team, if people are getting really annoyed with the fact they didn't get through the Champions League qualifiers, then they should be looking at their bloody manager.
They should be advocating for the fact that if you win the Scottish title, you automatically go into the.
And that's agreed too. Let's
do that.
But if they'd knocked Almaty out the other night and were in the Champions League,
they'd have bought some players.
They'd have got some players there.
Yeah. And that's their model.
And the players,
that's the same model that Brendan Rodgers left and came back to.
But it wasn't 11 members of the media playing Kaira Almaty the other night.
Granted.
If I'm not mistaken.
I'm not blaming the media for the result. I'm blaming Brendan Rodgers and the players on the field for the result, and perhaps the ownership model. But I'm not allowing the bloody players and the manager to slide out from underneath their responsibilities of being perfectly good enough to have overcome those minnows and maybe muted some of this outrage, or maybe not.
But they were weaker. There were players that had gone out of the squad, and he did.
Yeah, but look at who they played against, Martin. I get it, but look at who they're playing against. It's a pub team.
Okay. No doubt we'll be hearing more from Celtic as the weeks go on, because it's all about, unfortunately, no longer about Champions League football for them, or Rangers, of course, who don't have their problems to seek. 12:30.
Here's a question. Can England win the World Cup without Jude Bellingham? Or is the group better off without him? talkSPORT's Stuart Pearce says Bellingham looks like someone who's in it for themselves rather than the team, but Pearce hopes he's way off the mark.
At the moment, we think leaving Jude Bellingham out of the team would be outlandish. But for the greater good, if it's the right thing to do, it's always the right thing to do.
Bellingham's not at this particular camp. He's had shoulder surgery, of course. It's reported there's a rift in the squad over Jude not doing his fair share of media duties. talkSPORT's Perry Groves says the players will put up with that from Bellingham.
If Jude Bellingham isn't fit and not playing in the World Cup, I don't think we've got any chance of winning it. If he's playing and he's fit and he's flying, and Harry Kane is fit and flying, and we're talking about Declan Rice as well, then with those three, you have a chance of winning it.
England's World Cup qualifier in Serbia is live on talkSPORT tomorrow night. Amanda Staveley, meanwhile's Middle Eastern-backed consortium PCP International confirm they are not making an offer to buy Spurs. The club say they've rejected interest from PCP and a Chinese-backed consortium. All this has come 4 days after Daniel Levy was ousted as chairman. Here's Simon Jordan, his good mate.
Feels like there might have been something in the background that Daniel was orchestrating or doing, and it may well be that he wanted to sell Tottenham Hotspur. He wants his huge amount of money as a result of it and probably wanted to stay in situ. So if that's the case, that will go to the explanation of why it's happened so quickly.
And Yannick Sinner says Carlos Alcaraz has no weaknesses in his game after the latest chapter in their great modern rivalry. The 22-year-old Spaniard beat Sinner in 4 sets to win the US Open. You can read more on talksport.com.
It's Jim White, Simon Jordan and Martin Keown, and we are live on talkSPORT. The thespian came out of me at the weekend, actually, Simon. I was at the Theatre Royal Haymarket on Saturday night till the stars come down. Very good, very funny.
Widow Twanky or something.
I go to the theatre quite a lot. Met Tom, the Forest fan, as I was leaving the theatre. I had a nice chat with you, Tom. And where Nottingham Forest might be going this season. We had a good old chat there. Big fan of Martin Keown, Arsenal Invincible Martin Keown, who's with us this lunchtime. Here we go, though. One other thing I did do this weekend was sit down last night, made a point of it, although it was a delayed start to the men's singles final over in New York, the US Open, of course, between Sinner and Alcaraz, because no less, none other than the president was in attendance, and there were a whole bunch of people trying to get in and couldn't get in. Anyway, they all get in eventually, and they watched Alcaraz overcome Sinner 6-2, 3-6, 6-1, 6-4. Stuart Fraser is the Times tennis correspondent. Stuart, good afternoon to you. We'll get to the presence of the president in a second. But in Alcaraz and his performance and the nature of it, what did we witness?
Yeah, good afternoon, guys.
Good afternoon.
A scintillating display of ball striking, to be honest. Listen, they played an amazing French Open final earlier this year. They've played some amazing matches already. You know, Alcaraz is 22, Sinner's 24 years old. They've played 15 matches already. A lot of them have been so enjoyable to watch. Great contests. I would say last night as a contest, you know, maybe not the best in terms of the competition between the two, but if you just sort of take Alcaraz's performance alone and sort of marvel at what he was able to produce, it was really quite something to see towards the end, particularly in the 4th set. It really felt as if he just sort of took off in a way and raced to victory. You know, what he can produce on a court, the variety, the energy he brings, it really is quite something to watch.
I mean, Stuart, on a wider basis, is this the era of Alcaraz and Sinner already eclipsing the previous triumvirate of Federer, Nadal and Djokovic? Are we beginning to see the signs of it?
Yeah, listen, they're on track, I would say. Listen, the big three have achieved a lot in the game, and you know we're quick to wonder if future players can live up to that. We've entered the Alcaraz Sinner era. We've been in that for a while now. If you look back to the start of 2024. I actually look back to 2023 US Open. Novak Djokovic won the last of his 24 Grand Slam titles there. And then from January 2024 onwards, from the Australian Open thereon, Alcaraz and Sinner between them have won all eight Grand Slam titles since. So there was a clear transition moment in which the game has shifted a bit. There's this debate over, whether the best of Sinner and Alcaraz would beat Roger, Rafa, and Novak. I would say, actually, if you think back to before the era of the big three, even trying to compare that to Sampras, Agassi, even going back to the 80s, McEnroe, or whatever else, the game moves on, right? The sport already, even the last few years, has changed a little. People watching it last night would have maybe been amazed at the speed of tennis, the speed at which they were moving on the court. So it's very hard to compare eras, but this is the Alcaraz-Sinner era for sure.
I wonder, Simon, if it's going to be 24 and out for Djokovic.
Yeah, I think it's very difficult. I mean, opportunities might find their way in terms of whether Alcaraz or Jannik Sinner has a bad tournament or injured as a result of it, but I think it's going to be very difficult. I was going to ask you, Stuart, in the argument between the two players about who's the better player, where are you sitting on this? I mean, obviously we saw Sinner being 2 match points up against Alcaraz and the French and losing it, going to Wimbledon, winning Wimbledon, and now we've gone to the US, which a lot of people would have thought might have been his preferred surface, and getting destroyed by Alcaraz in the final. Between the two players, the more natural tennis player is Alcaraz?
Yeah, I would say that Alcaraz's best is better than Sinner's for sure. Sinner probably is more steady across the board. You look at his results in the tour, not as many fluctuations as there has been with Alcaraz over the sort of past year or so. Great from the baseline when he's in that rhythm, but Alcaraz probably has a bit more to his game in terms of the variety. We saw that last night. He really actually outfought Sinner on the court last night. So, I would say that the rankings as they are now after last night, Alcaraz at number 1, Sinner at number 2 is completely fair. And interestingly as well, if you look at the head-to-head, even though a lot of these matches felt quite close over the past year or so, Alcaraz has actually now won 7 of the past 8 against Sinner. And Sinner last night, you could see that and detect that in his comments. He's already talking about changing his game to cope with that variety on the other side of the net. And I think 7 of 8 times to walk off the court, the beaten man in this rivalry is starting to get to him.
Stuart, I was watching the tennis last night. Alcaraz, I think he's an amazing talent. He was bouncing around like a warrior before. But for me, it's the improvement of his serve. He got 61% of his first serves in last night in that game, and he's really gone to work. I know he's a natural talent. We shouldn't underestimate that. He's gone and he's worked on his game. He's respected that. And Sinner couldn't get the ball back from him.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, Alcaraz was only broken 3 times during the entire tournament. That's 7 matches. That's quite impressive because, whilst the serve was fine before, he is reaching new levels with that shot now. And I think the big thing about it is that there are players in the sport who hit the serve faster, 140 mile an hour plus. There's a French guy out there, Mpetshi Pericard, who basically hits the second serve as a first serve. But with Alcaraz, whilst the speed is not necessarily that high, it's the placement, the variety, the accuracy, and he's got so much he can now do with that shot.
Stuart, we noticed, we couldn't help but notice that Trump pitched up. And then an email sent by the United States Tennis Association to all the rights holders on Saturday confirmed that Trump would be shown, there'd be a shot of Trump shown on the worldwide feed during the singing of the national anthem ahead of the final itself. In anticipation of the potential boos from some of the fans, the USTA made an attempt to prevent this from being seen by viewers worldwide. The email said, "We ask all broadcasters to refrain from showcasing any disruptions or reactions in response to the president's attendance in any capacity, including electronic news gathering coverage." Now, I'll get your verdict on that, Stuart, but this was Trump's post-reaction verdict.
Well, I loved it. First of all, the 2 players have unbelievable talent. It just seemed that they hit the ball harder than I've ever seen before. Incredible talent. And I enjoyed it. And I used to go all the time, but, lately it's a little bit more difficult to go. I really enjoyed it. They were really nice. The fans were really nice. I didn't know what to expect. usually you would say that would be a somewhat progressive, as they say nowadays, crowd. Sometimes some people would call it liberal, but we'll use the word they like to use, progressive. But they were great. The fans were great.
What did you make of it, Stuart? I mean, how did his attendance go down and incidentally, after all the freedom of speech jibes that have been made from across the pond to here in the UK? This is a bit of censorship, is it not?
Yeah. Listen, there were boos for him last night. It wasn't as if the whole stadium was booing, but there were some heard for sure. What I will say about this is, I was there in 2015 as well, sitting in the stadium when Trump, who used to have a hospitality suite right next to the ESPN television commentary booth, he was there all the time. And this was about 2015, just a couple of months after he'd announced his first candidacy for the presidency in 2016. And he was booed a lot then as well. Listen, he's always been a fairly controversial figure. That was happening long before he was president as well. And obviously he's well known in New York. That's where he was born. He's Trump Tower's there. That's where he did most of his business there, going back. So I would say, though, that the rights holders, a lot of them clearly ignored that directive last night. That was a request from the USTA. They couldn't specifically order that the likes of Sky Sports and ESPN, whoever else, didn't show that, but there were mentions of it. And that's good because ironically, this apparent attempt at censorship has come at a time when free speech is a big topic in the United States.
Exactly that. All right. Stuart, thank you very much indeed. Of course, nobody knows more about the world of tennis than Stuart there. Stuart Fraser, Times tennis correspondent. What are you mouthing under your breath?
They just didn't want to give broadcasters popcorn headlines for a Republican president going into a democratic state of America in New York that doesn't like him. That's it, not censorship or curtailing freedom of speech.
We ask all broadcasters to refrain from showcasing any disruptions or reactions in response to the president's attendance in any capacity. What is that if it's not censorship?
Knowing that particular state, New York, is heavily democratic. Andrew Cuomo, who was there before, was a massive outspoken rival of Trump's. So all you're looking for is a broadcaster who are not asked to give popcorn headlines about the president got booed by a few people.
No, what they were doing was dictating what the broadcaster can and cannot show.
They were asking them not to do it.
And that equals, censorship.
No, they weren't looking for you guys to get free headlines.
There you go.
President got booed in a state.
Trump finished up, but Alcaraz won it. That's the main thing. That's the story out of what was an absolute thriller of a final. We're heading towards 1 o'clock. Heading towards 1 o'clock this Monday lunchtime. Jim White, Simon Jordan, Arsenal invincible Martin Keown, and of course Martin will have his eyes on the return, as we all do, the return of the Premier League this weekend, and his beloved Arsenal kick it all off. It's live in talkSPORT. Arsenal against Nottingham Forest, and of course last time out, we're in an international break. It's funny when you think back what actually happened in the final games of the Premier League before we broke for this break, if you know where I'm going. Liverpool took on Arsenal and beat them. There was criticism of Arteta post-match with observations that maybe the man himself is too cautious and he played not to lose at Anfield. And actually, in this very studio last week, we put that to former Arsenal man Emmanuel Petit.
Strong defense is one thing, it's good, if you want to win titles. If you want to be able as well to make differences, on set pieces, corner, things like this is what Arsenal, are performing very well. And this is good as well. But as I said, don't forget the DNA of Arsenal, which means great movement, great pressing, you have to bring craziness, at the end, the last side of the pitch. This is something that's been missing, for the last couple of months for Arsenal. And Saka was not on the pitch, so this is a big miss as well.
Yeah.
But Odegaard as well was not there. And there were no creativity, inside the team.
Emmanuel didn't miss there. Martin, he was quite scathing about this, playing not to lose when you're up against your title rivals. Are Arsenal guilty of that?
Well, first of all, I thought Mane was a very good listen, and I got the passion in his voice straight away, what he wanted, and I want the same. Of course, every Arsenal fan does. I would like a little bit of a reality check in terms of where we're going to. We're going to Anfield. We're 3 games in. It's not a difficult. It's not an easy place to go to. I don't think the team completely committed to going to win it in the way that they should have done, and they may well regret that, Jim, but it's so early in the season and we certainly can't be writing Arsenal off. To have no Havertz, to have no Odegaard, to have no Saka, to lose Saliba in the first 5 minutes, and then when you look at the squad that's come in, I think it's a very good job that he went to business, did the business he did. But look, we want more. Arsenal, I feel now, Jim, are in the stage where it's a mentality change. They need to change gear. They've really got to go after it. You've got to have the eye of the tiger to go and win these games. Looking back, I hope we don't regret it. But it's too early in the season, really, to write Arsenal off. I don't know if it's been calm in the media. I'm listening to some people. It's sometimes these ex-players. Peter Schmeichel has said that Arsenal brings something ugly to the Premier League. I think that's deranged in what he's talking about. Was it ugly when they changed the back pass rule in 92 because it was him that was one of the advocates of that? Everyone kept passing it back to him. That was ugly as well. But look, Arsenal, I think, they're a long way down the line to being successful. We're going to compare clubs, Manchester United. Look, maybe I'm rising to the bait, but I think Arsenal look good right now. It's not lucky Arsenal anymore, by the way, with all these injuries, but that will clear up. But they have now got a squad to go the distance.
But does it concern you, Martin?
Liverpool is still ahead.
They haven't won under Arteta at Anfield, at the Etihad.
Jim, I looked into this. I looked at Pep and I looked at some of it. I don't think Pep, I think he's won once or so at Anfield. We make too much of these things. It's about being Premier League champions. Arsenal have to win the return leg, but they have to win pretty well every other game in between. But there's a lot of newness in the Arsenal squad because, they've just bought a whole load of players, spent a great deal of money, and there's a pressure, there's an emphasis. I want this team to be successful, and I think something was missing in that game, and that's where they got to find it. Look, in the Manu Petit teams that I was in, it didn't go well at the start. We had big meetings. We changed direction. He talked about PSG, how they had a poor season up to Christmas. Look what happened to them. It certainly isn't over. Arsenal have to find those answers, and I think they're capable of it.
I mean, Schmeichel, as Martin says there, Simon, was strong. I don't want to insult Arsenal, but their brand of football is so annoying to watch.
He said it was ugly, didn't he?
Arsenal bring an ugly brand of football to our game. Arteta, let your team play football. Let them loose.
I think the DNA of Arsenal Football Club under Arsene Wenger was one that was renowned throughout the world, Jim.
And that's what Petit was saying, though. There was a crazy...
And it has fallen away a little bit, and they can get back to it, but it's about the team then taking ownership and going playing with more freedom. The handbrake has to come off, and they don't play quick enough. They look at a pass and turn their back on it, and they need now to punch the ball through the team, let go, make it happen. It's in their grasp, but it's still work in progress.
Schmeichel, nowhere near it with his comments.
I think it's
to judge it.
Well, I think if you're making a point and you want people to listen, you make it quite loudly. I don't think you would say that Arsenal are ugly. I think you might say that some of their play is a bit pedestrian at times and doesn't create the opportunities that you'd like it to do. But I don't think you can say it's ugly. I mean, I was going to say to Martin, what did you when you saw Arsenal set up against Liverpool and you didn't see Eberechi Eze in the starting 11 and you didn't see Odegaard in the starting 11, did you look at it and go,
Yeah, but I understood that because what they wanted to do was they wanted to press high in the midfield,
be solid
and they weren't sure if Eze would pick up that information. He's only been in the building, before that match for 3 days, and it was just one of those where, on another day and a bit further down the line, to go there on the third match of the season, but you've got to be brave, and I think
that's the point.
It is, but I think that you're curtailed though when you've not got Saka and you're going. Look, the amount of times Kirkes was on toast with Madueke, if Saka's doing that, there's a goal coming out of that. And he wasn't available on the day.
Okay. A win against Forest on return?
Has to be a win. I'll be at the game, Jim. Looking forward to